Welcome back to Star Trek Oval. It was Manuka Oval back then, the last time the Saints were here, and a few do remain. Hayes, Blake and Milne all played that day. It was Nathan Burke's 300th, and so much has changed. That old grainy vision, it looked like it was from the 40s, and I hope you're going to enjoy the pictures with us today, live here from Star Trek Oval. A few have moved up the games list since that time. Lenny Hayes and Stephen Milne up the list, but bad news for our own Danny Frawley today, because Nick Riewoldt and Nick Dal Santo have moved up to 7 and 8, and it's moved Spud very perilously close to being pushed out of the top 10. And he has told us for such a long time, Tony Shaw, that he is one of the top 10 greatest players ever. Well, at the St Kilda Football Club.
I talk to him every week, and he's told me every week for the last 15 years, so there you go.
Let's head down to Barry Hall, a former Saint, two-time winning goal kicker with the Saints. Welcome back to you, Barry.
Yeah, thanks, Dwayne. Well, conditions are absolutely beautiful down here, but we are in Canberra. It does get cold at night, so it will get dewy. Probably in the second half, look for the dew, and that'll maybe affect the game. There's a couple of keys I want to go across for this game, boys, to have a bit of a look at. One is the small forwards for the Saints. I think they are very, very dangerous. I know Nick Riewoldt's done a great job taking marks up there, but when the ball hits the ground, Sard, Milne and Malera, geez, they're hard to match up on, and I'd be a bit nervous if I was a small defender playing on these guys. The other one is, how long can GWS maintain that elite AFL intensity? That's been a question mark since they've been in the competition, and we have seen improvement, but let's see how long they can maintain that. And the third is the rebuilding for the Saints. I know when people hear about rebuilding from a coach's point of view, they wipe the season away, but from a Saints point of view, if I was a fan, I wouldn't write them off too much yet. Their top end players are very capable of winning games still, and they can still beat some teams in the top 8, so I wouldn't write the Saints off just yet.
I'm with you on the Saints smalls, Baz, but I think they've got a really dangerous looking forward line. They just need them to really fire. Stevie Milne's had a slow start the season, a bit like last year. Sard's now being tagged quite heavily, but got a couple last week. They're the ones that I think have the potential or the capacity, Baz, to blow GWS off the park if it gets to that.
Yeah, look, as I said, boys, they're very, very hard to match up on because they're all similar players. They love their opportunities around goals, and they don't miss very often.
This is a big game, this one, and for Saints fans watching back at home and those that have made the trip, no need to tell you, both teams yet to win a game in 2013, and you start 0-3, your chances of making the finals starting to slip away so early in the season. So this is huge. If you win this game, all of a sudden you're back in touch with the teams snapping at the top 8, and you're back in the reckoning. Captains are tossed. Phil Davis and Nick Riewoldt are about to get underway.
Phil Davis has been quite superb in his short time at the club, but I think the whole club is missing Chad Corns. Davis in particular, Shuri, that big body has probably cost them 4 points. The fact this year that the fact that he hasn't been playing, and
his ability just to read the play, Jared. He can float, he can go forward. He's got enormous flexibility. There's a free kick straight, first bounce.
Ben, come back on.
Player inside the square too early, so McAvoy gave to Armitage, who kicked it sideways. Not sure that was part of the plan. Fisher to send them inside 50 for the first time. It's high, it's a floater, and it's way too wide for anybody.
Well, it's created from David Armitage. Peripheral vision allowed him to pick up Fisher, who had run off his man. And he's had a pretty good start to the year, David Armitage.
Cornelio really had to make that his own there. Made the effort. Ward. Kennedy, tough ball, got it.
That is great disposal. Looking forward to seeing Cornelio. Sure, he's a good ball winner. I've just noticed the first couple of weeks under pressure, he's kicked the ball up the chimney a few times.
Geary got there in time. Robertson back towards Geary. The boundary line too fast for him, and will get a ball in. Of course, Saints fans also looking forward to seeing Nathan Wright and Tom Lee in an AFL game for the first time. If you've just joined us, we'll keep you in touch with those two right throughout this day-night game, the first ever day-night game here in Canberra. Nunes, high ball to Meister. Half forward, thumped back inboard. Green, slick hands. Treloar started the season well. Floats that a little, and the mark easily taken by Stanley. Riewoldt, his target. Being hunted down by Davis. Davis didn't really motor to get him, he just motored to try and corral him. Riewoldt's kick, the kind of kick that he'd hate if he was on the end of it. Milne gets there, been out of form, Milne. kind of play they don't want to play back into form. Hayes.
Montagna loose.
McAvoy. Geary. Meister. And two entries inside 52 out on the fulls. And they have been sloppy so far in 2013, the winless Saints. Bug.
Hold, Joe. Move it on, play on. Thank you.
Good play. Got to play that, Gilbert. Good purchase on it.
Don't grab him, don't grab him.
Short pass, Hayes. And too far out for him to score. He knows it.
Should be a good matchup. This Sheets has put Callum Ward straight onto Lenny Hayes. It's going to be a nice old battle.
3 entries inside 53 out on the force.
Sloppy, I think that was the right word, Dwayne. You've picked it in one, and the Saints need to address it.
I'll tell you what, though, GWS just protecting the corridor really well that early part of the game, so that has forced them to go wide, but maybe not that wide.
Treloar. Mentioned, he's been playing well in 2013. Heads wide. To the subs today, Farron Ray and Sam Reid. There was a late change for the Saints if you've just joined us. Aaron Sipos out and Farron Ray into the lineup. McAvoy too strong. Jones, Armitage.
Bill Davis is going to lose a free kick. He's just grabbing and scragging. He's clearly troubled by the athleticism, and it looks like Stephen Milne is going to become that leading forward that he has been over the years, Shorey. Not so often this year he has been able to lead up and mark the ball, but Riewoldt playing a bit further up the ground, and Stephen Milne is just playing basically as a small full forward coming out of the square.
The other issue you've got for GWS, the rebound off half back line has just been unbelievable by St Kilda. They've got Giles, Cameron and Patton all up there at the one time, Jared. I think that's overkill.
Kicked 2 goals for this year so far, Stephen Milne. He's been out of form, and he might just play his way back into form today.
Well, it's been a great start by the Saints in statistically at least, just getting the ball inside forward 50. You see there Stephen Milne, top of the square, and it was Tommy Bugg, I think, on the back of it, unable to track him down. Milne just read it a little bit better. It was a brilliant kick, of course, and the conversion excellent as well. So Stephen Milne finally adding a little bit of polish to the forward entries of the Saints.
Milne trying to get himself going with a few nouns and verbs, sparking himself up, letting his opponents know he has been known as an Etihad Stadium specialist, Stephen Milne. He hasn't been in the greatest form and playing away. Big opportunity here this afternoon. Free kick in the middle. GWS to go forward for the first time. Ward to Kennedy, and he pumps it. Cameron doesn't have a jump at this. Giles, in the end, the man they went for. McAvoy fed back, wasn't in the marking contest, but got it to Geary. Too wide for Stephen, and that'll work. They'll get a ball in.
Jack Stephen is a fantastic recruit to come into your club. Been there 3 or 4 years now. His work rate, Shorey, I'm sure you just love to watch the way he plays. He is going at 100 miles an hour when other blokes are looking into the red time and starting to put the cue in the rack.
There's been a good pick-up at pick 42 as well.
Fair dinkum. Umpires are going to have to just re-look at what is considered legal disposal, because that was a throw.
Malera, plenty of space to use. He's got Meister forward in a one-on-one with Moore. Meister worked into space. Might have been caught by the lights there in his eyes. Moore around the body. Well read by Whitfield, the #1 draft pick. Giving directions before he kicked.
That's the future, those two boys there. Whitfield onto Cameron. Love to see Cameron play centre-half back at some stage.
Treloar slips.
Probably needs to work on his handball.
Yeah, or Treloar needs to work on his boots.
Studs.
Malera, Jones. No one's in the goal square here for Malera. If he wants to go for it.
That's a smart kick. No, it wasn't so smart. I thought he was going for deliberate out of bounds. But in the end, he just had a poor pot shot.
Bug. Hampton. Ward, plenty of it early.
Oh, dangerous kick.
Cut off. Knocked down. Good knock forward. This is Wright. First gamer.
That's
jumped
ball.
on.
That's ball. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, so the umpires aren't getting conned anymore. They say you make a definite try to get the ball, to try and get the ball out. Don't lie on it and think we're thinking that.
He had no prior opportunity, but made no attempt once he went to ground. You're spot on. More wide, but at least Nathan Wright has been involved in a piece of play for the first time in his career. So Blake, Jones,
that was a
Fisher.
that handball.
This lack of pressure from the talls is telling for GWS at the moment.
Lee, and he was beaten by his own man Meister. So Lee wearing the 9, Wright wearing the 34. And no doubt Saints fans saw Tommy Lee in the pre-season, the NAB Cup.
Holding the man.
So Riewoldt's ball from 25 metres out, he'll have a shot.
Well, that was Curtly Hampton just really worried about the pressure and perceived pressure because he hadn't marked the ball yet, Jared. But
and Davis was going to come over the top end, mark it.
Leading the competition after 2 rounds, Nick Riewoldt, for marks inside 50. He's been spending more time inside 50. That's a free inside 50, but it was probably a free because he was in such a good position to mark. And this shouldn't trouble him. Had a couple of cases of the yips over his career, but that was perfection.
Yeah, from what I've seen this year, his goal kicking looks as good as it's ever been. Looks really relaxed with the ball. As we take another look at the original mark.
Do you like Tommy Lee going at it though, Jared? No hesitation in the first game and first chance.
Yeah, he's a good size, Shorey. Interestingly there, Riewoldt initiated the first contract, but Curtly Ambrose just got, Curtly Hampton. He delivered a short delivery.
He's coming out of the Canberra end, Jared. He's going to...
And the turf wicket is wet.
You are right, though. He was actually named after Curtly Ambrose,
right.
Jared, who was touring Australia the summer Curtly Hampton was born, and that's why his parents actually named him Curtly Hampton. So you weren't far off.
Just leading you into some of your intricacies.
I love it when
Let's
you
have a
play
look
my
at the forward
straight man.
efficiency there, Dwayne. I know you got the goggles up, but St Kilda going inside 7 times for 2 goals, 1 the GWS yet to score.
Dylan Shield.
Wants to have a big one today. Dylan Shield came out and said we might run him off the legs during the week, Dwayne.
Yeah, and Scott Waters used that in his pre-game address, we understand. Good fist from Stanley. Thumped it down. Robertson from Gilbert.
Tell you what, Dylan Shield might have made a small mistake, but he hasn't made one in his first 2 rounds. He has been just about their best player, if not their best player, and you'd just love to have him in your club. He's a solid citizen, he's a hard ball winner, and he's a very good player of the future.
They drafted him as a 17-year-old priority selection, and he hasn't let them down so far. And we'll get another ball in.
You wouldn't be surprised he's a future captain of this club. There are the 2 captains, coaches that would be. Kevin Sheedy's been around. I think this is his 25th venue that he's coached at in league football, Shuri. Given when he started, there are only 12 clubs. It's not a bad effort.
And probably 4 venues, I think.
660 plus AFL games now for Kevin Sheedy, 3rd all time, but he is handing over the reins next year to Leon Cameron.
Now, boys, have a look at this. This is the 3-man setup. Have a look at those talls there, 1, 2, 3, and they don't work together there. It's so close together that no one's made a definite lead to make space for the other. And then look how slack they are on the rebound. That is the issue they've got at the moment, GWS.
Nice work, Shorey. Canelio gets it out. Giles straight up in the air. It does travel 15. It'll be a mark. And stolen brilliantly on the run by Wright, who's looked okay early in game 1. Montagna heads wide. And don't tell me it's another out on the full.
Gee, they're kicking.
I think it's a short boundary, that one over there, Shuri. It's just, there's a local wind that's just dragging it in over the boundary line.
So if Curtly was bowling, that's where you want to flick it off your pads.
Canelio hugs the boundary. Just read that a little wrongly there, Patton, with his leap. Close to the boundary, Dal Santo. And a free kick to Dal Santo, pushed in the back on the handball.
Gee, Stanley has been a bit of a find for St Kilda down back, hasn't he? He didn't produce much up forward, but he's got all the attributes to be a really good key back. Got great closing speed, and he's got some size about him.
Yeah, just 12 games last year, Reece Stanley, with the hamstring problems.
And Sol's a really big issue for the Saints. Baz, we know that they went to the draft and spoke to the Eagles at length last year. Couldn't orchestrate the deal that they wanted with Brown, but this kid has become a real find.
And there he is on cue. Geary, he takes off, back to Stanley, who continues with that run. Little too wide again, although Riewoldt nearly made it his, and Good mark to Tim Moore.
They've been a bit lucky to get it, given he fumbled it over the boundary line, but he has been in great form, Tim Moore, as a defender.
Danger. Plowman has ploughed his way through. Took possession, heads to Davis, who'd better get his skates on. Meister's about to shut him down. Patton. That's McAvoy.
That's a good, strong lead. Now, there should be space behind him for another key position player. Hopefully they use that space, and they find it here.
Hampton. Still yet to score. Greater Western Sydney. Still yet to win a game in 2013. Saints getting numbers back in front of Cameron. Dal Santo didn't want to take it out initially, but it will be a ball in. With Dal Santo, the player the Saints got with pick 13, and they got pick 13 for trading our own Barry Hall up to the Swans. So you're continuing to pay dividends, at least for your old club, Baz.
Oh, it's the least I could do, Dwayne. It's look, I guess with trades like that, it's St Kilda can walk away and say we've won out of it, and so can Sydney.
Absolutely.
So that's the great thing about it.
Sydney Premiership captain Barry Hall on the boundary line for us. Here's Tom Lee in game one. Manhandled. Stephen Gillum, experienced campaigner with him. Look away, handball didn't work all that well, but ball in. And he's the player they got with pick 12. They traded pick 12 to Greater Western Sydney to get him. They did get him and pick 24 back, and they used pick 24 to get Nathan Wright. So in essence, they used pick 12 to get the two debutants today, Tom Lee and Nathan Wright, thanks to Greater Western Sydney, St Kilda. So there is some serendipity that they're playing them in their first games against GWS today. And he has been on a protein rather than a carbohydrate diet over summer, Jared. Dylan Shield.
Yes, well, he's always had that well-defined body, Dwayne. When he first came in, he was well-developed, and he's continued to add lots of running to his game.
There he is on cue, getting balled to the deck.
Tom. It's all right, Stephen. Don't go near his back. Don't go near his back, mate.
Good-looking unit.
Thank you.
Great tap.
Here he is again. Shield. Stanley. Crowd not yet into it here. Start track oval, Manuka Oval in Canberra.
This switch is killing GWS, Dwayne, at the moment. Not to harp on the point, but the rebound is...
So's this bloke, Shuri. He's their #1 possession winner at the present time. He's just coming off for a spell, McAvoy.
Inside 50, Lee to Milne. Kickable by his standards. Outside of the boot. Tried to roll it home, and Hampton thumped it through.
Well, I think Giles, I've watched Giles the last couple of weeks, and I think he's a better option as the first ruckman than Brogan. You know what Brogan's there for, because one of their key players is out at the moment for GWS, who's hurt his hamstring. I'll just get up with that name in a moment, Jared, but he's a young ruckman, and Brogan probably wouldn't be playing, I wouldn't think, would be coaching at this stage if he was available.
You've highlighted their issue up in the forward line, Shuri. Just having with the inside forward 50 stats, they've gone inside 4 times, they're yet to touch the ball. So it is just really a springboard for the Saints at the present time, and this is an impressive mark.
Tom Lee spears the pass,
Well
just cut off by Shield. Dal Santo gets it regardless, couldn't get a handball up. Shield is strong. He knocked it out, kept it in. He disguised that well enough for mine. In fact, he gets himself a free for being jumped on high.
Well, maybe they've got to just rethink their setup up forward, Shuri, and get some smaller blokes up there. They've got Giles up there, Cameron, Patton. You know, if the ball hits the ground, it's basically back on the wing.
Well, I just take Brogan and Giles off the bench. Just rotate them off the bench, not deep forward. They're just inability, lack of mobility is a real issue.
Well, the other issue, Shuri, is they're on Fisher, who's a great rebounder, so they're going to struggle to go with him.
Hand over the shoulder.
Dean Brogan won the palm but lost the free. He had an arm around Blake. Quickly to Montagna. Meister slipped twice. Riewoldt from 3 deep. Bark caught, and Hoskin Elliott just got a rolling ball to the midfield. Bounced unkindly for Montagna. Patton tried to spin that a little too early. Here's Brogan on cue.
Good vision.
Smith. Sidestep. Wobbles one in Cameron's direction. Crunch! He went up hard, Cameron. Gave away a free. And Fisher is hurt big time.
Look, I hope Fisher's okay, but that's exactly what you want from your forwards. If someone's in front of you, you want to barrel in.
Well, the free kick was against Giles. not for the crunch by Cameron. Stevens, straight down the middle they travel again. Blake. Riewoldt working up. And good for the hot spot. Lee might get the jump. Meister goes instead.
Well, it's the difference. At one end of the ground, they're taking contested marks. At the other, not a lot of ballistic moving. Sure, looking forward to your analysis at half-time from the Comcam. But you just see the Saints there. Meister came at the ball and gave the midfield player an option. It's still static down at the other end of the ground. Cameron came up, but he ran straight up into the back of an opposition player.
3 goals against GWS last season as Bo Wilkes. And Meister hits the post. And they did dominate GWS last year. Only met once, these two. And it was essentially a 21-goal win to the Saints. 25 goals to 5, 128 points the margin. And they're only meeting so far. So GWS know they better get going shortly. Well, this margin could slip out by quarter time.
The other issue too is Nick Riewoldt, boys. They haven't got a natural matchup. Moore's too slow, Gillam's too slow, and even Davis, who's probably the best matchup, is slow of leg speed. So you might even go with a smaller type player, but more agile and quicker.
Nice torpedo to the middle, but I think the Saints were ready for it. Had some numbers there. Bug caught a little high. About to tick into time on in this opening term. They started well last week, GWS. Kicked the first 2 goals of that game against Port Adelaide to get themselves into it early.
That's a push.
Horrendous start this. Plowman caught by Milne. He rode him, caught him high, and he's got him high again.
That's the third one in line, I thought.
Yeah, Ray Chamberlain just waited for the addition of the extra freeze. And Stephen Milne.
It's good to have him back in the on the track line.
Ray Chamberlain or Stephen Milne?
No, Ray.
Similar characters, some would say. Plowman to the wing. Cameron! A little too early.
Giles gets a free kick off the ball.
And a quick play on. So Smith, no one in the square. He could go for it from there. Stanley put the pressure on, and that might work well enough for GWS.
So it's just once again, just a great example of Stanley's great athletic assets being able to close down on a much smaller player.
Well, he's got great speed. We've just seen that. I think if St Kilda can keep his role pretty basic, I reckon it's a really good position for him.
Smith again almost trapped that in the congestion. Good tackles by the Saints players, not going too high. And Ward rolled it along the boundary. Dal Santo could take it through under some pressure. Montagna, and they should have open spaces ahead. Blake looks up. He's got Malera long. He's got Riewoldt telling him to go long. And Riewoldt couldn't quite get the jump that he wanted. Armitage dragged down. Splendid tackle. Did he take him on? Umpire said no. Stephen, and it still opens up. Malera. Who does he want? Got options of plenty inside 50. Didn't pick one. Hampton.
It was well read by Hampton. He had his man Saad, who looked dangerous, but he just dropped in front of Riewoldt.
So Jones to Stephen to Montagna. Spears it inside 50, cut off by Plowman, and he thumped it towards the boundary.
Always great to have another look at this for anybody who doesn't recognise that particular kick. That is a torpedo punch, Shuri.
Yeah, I never kicked them.
Brogan front spot. Dangerous spot to be palming it, though. Dal Santo gives it up just in time. Armitage around the body. Very, very dangerous spot to be palming it. St Kilda kicked the first 3.
Well, that is a great pickup, Dwayne. I cannot believe that a ruckman would hit the ball back into the corridor and open up the goal face. Now, Dal Santo, quick hands out. Let's see if we can... Oh, one-handed bad shepherd there you picked up, Jared, just the way he should have been a two-handed across the body and slammed that ball onto the boot. Those little things, they're the difference of winning and losing games, but that was a shocking tap back in the corridor.
They picked 9 back in 2006, David Armitage. And this is going to plan for the Saints, the winless Saints so far in 2013. Stephen takes off and pumps it. Milne's inside 50. Hampton got a fist on it. Milne pounces. Hampton jumped on him and a little overzealous with the tackle. This will test Milne from 50.
And Hampton's just got to learn from that particular mistake. He had Milne. He didn't have to end up lying on the body, which gave away the free kick. Just had to keep the ball in. He may have ended up getting a free kick because Milne basically just let it out.
Right on his range. Gets a bit on it. And doesn't have the carry. McAvoy got the handball out first time. It was smothered. Riewoldt keeps it alive. 21-point margin. GWS already staring at being on the ropes, and that's a spoil of sorts. Last week they were 2 goals up. The first 2 goals of the game against Port, they were 2 goals up at quarter time. Showed so much promise with a lively start. And they get some momentum before quarter time here. Hayes.
They've got to reverse a trend, Wayne. They've just, their last 5 minutes of each quarter has really killed them.
Spearing pass from Wright. Saad hasn't seen a lot of it yet. Dragged down. Stephen centering kick. Riewoldt, no, but it's both there. Yeah. Too good. Well, he is one of the best players ever to have played the game. Yeah. It's fair to say, Nick Riewoldt. I know he hasn't got a premiership medallion, he hasn't got a Brownlow, he hasn't got a Coleman, he hasn't got a Norm Smith, but he is one of the all-time greats.
Well, the thing about this contest, though, look at Phil Davis, though. Now, did he hold his hand, just gave up the position, and he knew. He knew before that ball got to him, he turns around to the umpire. You've got to play the ball on its merits. Once it's up there, and even with that body work, just that's why he's been such a great champion.
Love to see him and Cameron swap at some stage today, Shuri. Cameron onto Riewoldt and Davis up on the forward line. There's a shank.
Good education for Cameron, just to go the other end and see if he can defend a great forward.
Just with his kicking skills and his decision-making skills, Shuri, I think he'd be absolutely unbelievable in that area.
Plowman missed Hampton. It's about to come back. It must be slippery out there. Armitage had a slip and he makes it work. Saad will line up from virtually the spot Riewoldt just missed from.
It's a bad weekend for Australians in shanking. With the Masters on. Jeez, we haven't been good in front of goal this weekend so far, sure. There's some shocking errors last night and again today.
I think we've got 4 in the top 10 at the Masters.
Jason Day's about to win it, Jared.
I was talking about the footy.
Oh, sorry. Ahmed Saad. GWS had first option on him as well. Traded him to the Saints for pick 20 in essence.
How's the technique, Jared? What do you think of this?
It's unusual, but if it works, I'm happy. Everything is straight.
They call it the mummy, they do.
Dunstall would be thrilled with this.
Hey, if it works.
No, he's a good kick.
Ends justifies the means for Ahmed Saad.
Yes, he just keeps everything straight, and he does the same in practice that we're told, and that's all you want. You want a good result, a repetitive action that stands up under pressure.
What did you call it, the mummy?
Yeah, the mummy. Yeah, the mummy just walks with the hands.
Is that because he's Egyptian born, is it?
Oh, boom, boom. I didn't even think of it that way. It's just the style that he walks in.
Right, okay.
Let's just take a look at the GWS and one of their problems. If you just have a look at the points differential for the various parts of each quarter, it's the last 7 or 8 minutes of every quarter that's really killing them, and even from the 20-minute mark on. They're pretty competitive otherwise, but already in the last couple of minutes, late in the quarter, sure, 2 easy goals.
Yeah. Kennedy pumps it inside 50. McAvoy gets back. Probably should have held it. He did the hard work. Tries to mop up his mess. Handball out to Stanley. Geary. It's like they've got 25 out there.
Yeah, well.
The GWS is 18 players. Robertson wide. And Riewoldt is off and running. Saad in a one-on-one with Bug. Saad wants to feed back to the goal square. It just didn't sit for him. Keeps it alive. Malera's got Milne if he sees him. Milne needs to shepherd. Got on his way. Malera good enough to get around him.
They're going to get 15 between them. I think the three smalls today, sure, they're working pretty well. The ball's coming in. They're isolating the inexperienced defenders of the GWS. And just have a look here. Bug gets out position. This is a nice little bit of work here by Malera, but it should have been straight over the line. That just wasn't good enough defence.
They've got some issues, GWS. They're getting smacked in the ruck. McAvoy probably best on ground at this stage, giving them first use around the packs.
GWS had first option on him as well, Terry Malera, and they decided not to.
You just keep rubbing it in, Dwayne, now.
Well, I think the fact is they went for youth rather than some players who had a few years of experience. They could have gotten, maybe attempted to win some more games in years 1 and 2, but they really recruited for year 3, and that's why the scoreline's 34-0. A little high on Hoskin Elliott. Okay, can they score in the last minute of this opening term? They need something to go into quarter time with, surely. Cameron's their target. McAvoy, hands on it. Cornelio. Tackle laid by Nathan Wright.
See, I was just watching Jonathan Patton then. When that free kick was given away by his opponent, Stanley, he had to sprint back to the goal square. Nick Riewoldt would show him the work rate needed to be a great forward, so he's going to have to look at that.
Armitage just wanted that more than anybody else. Dal Santo, and they're staring at a scoreless opening term here in Canberra. GWS in front of their home crowd, the venue where they won their first ever game last year. And another cut off. Dal Santo.
Look behind play here, Dwayne. Look at the lack of defensive thought process from GWS. It's numbers and also just not thinking that once we turn the ball over, we've got to stop this. We've got to go to a man or at least push up the ground.
Scully's working hard in that. He had 3 to cover, and at least he's put some pressure on. Good running here as well, though, and the ball comes out. But Scully just about mob him up.
Malera sidesteps a couple. Saints can still sniff one here, but they needed a mark. They needed a kick forward and a mark from that. Geary can have a shot on the bell. Umpire is not going to allow it. It does roll across the face regardless. But that is the first scoreless opening term since round 24, 2011. It's been a long time since we've seen a team unable to put even one behind on the board, and the Saints are staring early at a handy victory. Beautiful scenery here in Canberra, only if you're a Saints supporter. 5-4-34 to no score. Every Greater Western Sydney game, and they are down to play 3 games a year here for the next 10 years, but bad news for GWS supporters that have made the trip. The Saints mean business, and they meant business from the opening second of this. 5-4-34 to no score at quarter time. 34 points the margin. And where do you start? We might actually start with Barry Hall down on the boundary line. What did it look like from your angle, Bass?
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. Well, the defensive pressure from GWS is non-existent at the moment, and the Saints are really exposing them. Going inside 50 for both sides, it's just completely different. There's no movement. It's very stagnant for GWS. Down the other end of St Kilda, there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of options. 5 different goal kickers. That's exactly what you want as from the forward group. The Saints players, all their good players are playing well. And as I said off the top of the show, if all their players are playing well, they're going to shake a few sides up. So good signs from the Saints down here at the moment.
Sure, you think perhaps a change in the ruck? Cox
no doubt.
Brogan, I should say, is at the end. He's playing probably more games at the start of the season than we all expected. But he's not too bad up in the forward line.
There's a big body. Oh, look, I just think I've seen them play 2 weeks in a row, Jared. I think Giles is the better option around the ground. You know, McAvoy's had 9 possessions in that first quarter. Kicking efficiency 100%. Contested possessions 5. He's just giving them first supply. And the other thing is having Giles as a forward. They've got 3 big forwards who the lack of agility or mobility is killing them on the rebound.
So he either plays off the bench or goes
Exactly.
forward. And if you like the extra small in that forward line, it's definitely the bench. But at this stage, it's getting it in there also, which is a significant issue. And at the moment, it's 8-16. They're going in twice as much at the moment, the Saints.
Brogan wins the palm, but straight down to Jones, and immediately the Saints are inside 50. Davis, captaining the team today, sends it wide. Hunted down by Montagna. They can smell blood here, the Saints. They need a win to get their 2013 season started, and it's all going to plan for them. Geary, Montagna, Hayes. Best and fairest winner from 2012, Lenny Hayes. Age doesn't look to be wearing him just yet. Neither Nick Riewoldt. Keeps it low inside 50. Sard. Saw the lights on here for the first time ever in Canberra, a game being played under the lights. History-making day for an AFL game for premiership points. And this is a history-making scoreline right now as well. Scoreless opening term, and it's about to get worse. Ahmed Saad for goal number 2. Yes, it looks strange, but yes, it's effective. Uses the full 30 seconds allowed.
Oh, boy. It's just controlled, isn't it?
It's actually a work of art.
Probably didn't absolutely square that one. Had a little bit of right to left movement on it, Shorey. But here's the kick. No pressure at all from Phil Davis. That's not good enough. He's the captain. There had to be some pressure on the kick. And here it is again. Mummified.
Well, you think about the fundamentals, Jared. If you hold the ball straight, drop the ball straight and swing your leg straight, it's got to go straight, doesn't it?
It's absolutely perfect, Baz. I wouldn't question in any way, shape or form.
Just Barry Hall's picked this to a tee. The three-man, free kick off the ball.
GWS in the middle. No, don't push him in the back. I gave you a warning, Stephen. Don't push him in the back.
And Stevie Milne pushing in the back on the half-back line.
Umpire Gary Feeler on Stephen Milne. Long kick, Patton's in the spot. Couldn't take the mark. Might kick it off the deck. Hallelujah. GWS are on the board.
Well, just a quick grab out of the middle of the ground, courtesy of a Stephen Milne free kick. Got it in. Quick contest. There's Milne up the other end of the ground. He says he pushes him in the back, and there's the push. Well judged from the umpire. It gets the 50. Long bomb. And good recovery from the general. There he is, just out the back. And, well, he got it just right underneath the kneecap, which constitutes a goal.
That can be reviewed if they want to. Worthy of a review, do you think?
No, not for mind one.
Okay.
Here's another free kick for the GWS. He's just giving them a starting chance.
Bug pumps it. And a good Clark Giles.
Well, I'll take it back. If you're going to bomb the ball, though, that's where you want to bomb it, Dwayne. Right in the corridor, about 20 out, to put enormous pressure on the marking defenders. And they're the first time, I think, that they've come in without going too wide and straightened up on both occasions.
It's been another late blooming ruckman, Jonathan Giles, and he prides himself on his goal kicking. But at least they started this second term a lot better than they started the opening.
But once again, it took a really good pack mark. There was 3 or 4 GWS forwards there contesting that ball, so it's very basic. They're just bombing it in. Where you go the other end, St Kilda, they've got 5 or 6 options every time they go inside 50.
Stanley, the long bomb. Lee nudged in the back, but forced it to the front for the Crummers.
Good to see Green getting involved. He's had just 3 handballs.
1-2 works. Montagna and Wright, the first gamer, getting involved a couple of times early. Milne, he's right again. Unfortunately, he wasn't on his right. Milne is now. Centering kick. Well, that's just spectacular. And Armitage can go back.
Well, it may have been Dylan Shields. We'll have a look on the replay whether or not he didn't cover off at Armitage. The midfielder has just pushed forward. And I think he got under the guard of Dylan Shield. And Armitage, no slouch in front of goals either. So a wasted opportunity at one into the ground for the GWS. And it's going to cost them on the scoreboard if this one goes through.
His second goal of the evening.
Just a couple of basic defensive issues here. The old 1-2, you've got Stevie Milne who likes to sell the 1-2. Well, he just switched over with his teammate there in Wright. Once he handballed to him, the player got sucked to Wright but didn't stay with Stevie Milne. Now, we can just have a look at Armitage in the top of the screen there on the wing, still running here. He's not looked at in this stage. He could nearly run to the pocket and go out wide to Riewoldt's there. Where is his opponent? And he's about 20 metres behind him, Jared, just coming on the screen now.
Yes, you certainly got him lost through that
Liam
midfield
Shield.
transition, Liam Shield. He did not pick him up on the way through. May have been trying to go the other way, but on the reversal, he certainly is exposed.
From the ball up, Lenny Hayes can't get the clearance. He was wing tackled by Shield brilliantly. No prior opportunity, so another ball up.
Great tackle, but he got pinned under him. 1 metre, thank you.
Umpire Ray Chamberlain barking the instructions, doing some commentary for us.
Well done, Ray.
Play on.
Armitage and Montagna. Armitage in the end to Stephen.
Great pace, this bloke.
Took off on Sumner. Back to Montagna. Back to Fisher. Doing as they please right now. Right.
Go.
Meister. Moore got an arm on there. And just got a handball away. Milne stole that from his own man, Meister.
Eye contact, Thomas Bugs.
Thomas Bugs' ball.
Well, the GWS are renowned for their midfield prowess. Surely they're getting a lesson right now, and I'm not sure it's ability. I think it's just hard work, right? And the Saints are winning the ball, and they're keeping the ball. Just lacking general intensity across the ground from the captain. We've had a look at a part smother only 5 minutes ago when Riewoldt took the mark, right through to the most inexperienced player.
And Farron Ray has been subbed into the game. I'll find out who's come off for him as soon as I can, boys.
Very early sub for the Saints then. And if you have just joined us, Sipos was a late withdrawal for the Saints, so Farron Ray came up as the extra man, and it is Nunes who's been subbed out. So Barry Hall will be on the spot and find out what's wrong with Jack Nunes.
Well, Jack Nunes was tagging Scully too, Dwayne, and Scully hadn't had that much of an impact.
Shield went to ground, just got it up in time. Ward, too wide for Patton. Stanley with him, sees it to the line.
Stay there, Jonathan. That's perfect. Thanks, mate.
When I said Tom Scully hasn't had much of an impact, Dwayne, he hasn't touched the ball.
Giles knocks it down. This is better. Flick wide. Ward, can he find a target? Brogan.
Jason, here.
Will he have the shot from there?
3 metres.
Thinking about passing.
Doesn't want it.
Brogan, 2.
Being sent around on the angle. Premiership player. Port Adelaide, Dean Brogan. He wasn't expected to play this year. They delisted him. They gave away his old number 10 to Devon Smith, and then drafted him back again.
In the former world, this would be regarded as a three-pointer.
Yes, exactly. He'd spent some time up here playing in the NBL.
Oh,
not a problem. That is a gem. That's what experience can bring you.
Well done to Dean Brogan. That is just fantastic stuff. You've got to take your chances. When you're this far down, you just need somebody to find some inspiration and a lift. Ez Green with the ball. Like to see him back, just getting a hell of a lot more ball. He's been playing more up the ground, surely, it seems, rather than having a big body, or preferring a big body in the middle of the ground. But you've got to convert. We saw Giles miss one straight in front. Well, his ruck partner has convinced us all that he should be still out there.
Turns 35 years of age later this year, Dean Brogan. He's been a warrior.
Oh, he's been fantastic. That player was James Stewart, boys, who was to hurt his hamstring. It's the son of Craig Stewart. Used to play at Richmond and Collingwood, who they believe might be a very good key forward ruckman.
So Brogan just filling in time until he's ready to
I think so.
be unveiled. Scott Waters, year 2 as a coach, and Kevin Sheedy, 4-time premiership coach of the Essendon Football Club in his final year as a coach. Kennedy, run down from behind by Riewoldt. Oh, tough.
Oh, that's a free kick, nearly reverse.
Riewoldt thought he brought him down in textbook style. Stephen Gillum. Robertson. Crowd hasn't had a lot to cheer about just yet for GWS as Wright gets another touch in game one. Stephen sold that dummy beautifully. Back to Robertson. To the top of the square. Meister. Didn't quite hold it long enough. Moore. Hunted down by Milne. Flicked out. Dal Santo. And now they peel off. Geary wants a target. Was it 15? Umpire says yes. Stephen will line up. It was just the required 15 if that.
So when GWS are losing the ball, they're pushing back down and getting into a grid, or they're getting into some zones. But if the Saints then push the ball out, there's no one coming up on the bloke with the ball in the hand. So there's absolutely no pressure between the 40 and the 60-metre mark. And we're just seeing them flick the ball around. You saw Dal Santo get it, and the chip kick to Jack Stephen.
They push it back to a 39-point margin. They're being cruel to be kind, the Saints.
So it's okay to defend from the blackboard, because that's the blackboard, but at some stage you have to put the pressure on the ball carrier. Let's take a look here. There's no one pushing out here. You've got bloke Tom Scully pushing back into space. You've got Jack Stevens pushing out into space. And you've got half a dozen blokes in orange jumpers behind him worrying about somebody chip kicking the ball or mongrelling the ball to the 20-metre or 30-metre mark.
$39 points the margin. And Gerard, there's a comparison of ages.
Well, you did mention, Dwayne, they've taken the 3 to 5 year view, and you can see that in the average games, 33 to 104. If they can get it to 70 odd, we're going to see a much more competitive unit.
Malera unselfish to Riewoldt, unselfish to Stephen. Ugly. That was a training drill until it wasn't.
Just continuing this weekend of shanks in AFL football. There's been more goals missed from unmissable spots this round than can remember for a while.
Hold hands, Jonathan Giles.
Giles free. This could be advantage paid. It is. Trelaw. Open forward line for GWS. They need to use it and use it well. Tom Scully on the left, centering kick. Brogan gets there.
That's
easier than the last one he got.
That's the sort of run and intensity, Shuri, that has to underpin any performance by this group.
Well, they've got to get the ball out and break the opposition apart with their leg speed. That's one thing, one of their strength they've got, and they haven't shown it.
And that's exactly what Dylan Shield said in the press during the week. We can run them off our legs. Still a lot of game time left in this for GWS to make some sort of statement. Big Dean Brogan's making a statement of his own. He's got two.
Well, you've got your way, Shuri. You push Dean Brogan up the other end of the ground, Giles into the middle, and well, we've seen it bear a couple of bits of fruit. And here is one bloke that just desperately has to get into the game. Just the one possession, but it's a possession. I like what he's done with his kicking. He just appears to me to be hitting a hell of a lot more targets. It's been a question mark on his abilities, but that was just a superb kick and good decision making. And the big fella looks as if he's stretching a hip flexor. He did it just before he kicked the goal, and maybe he's just giving it a bit of a tweak as well.
It's been goal for the last 6 goals, so they're holding their own at least at this stage. GWS not letting the margin blow out, trying to stay in the contest. Ward, Whitfield, back to Ward, sidesteps a couple. Trelaw, not 15. Bugsy, that looked 15 easily.
He went too early, the umpire.
He did.
That's some mere travel.
Jones, Sard, fumble, Hampton. Sard clever, kept it alive for a split second, couldn't run away with it. Season kickstarts for one of these two teams this evening, either the Saints or GWS. Both came in winless, but whichever team wins today, back in the hunt for a spot just outside the 8.
Look at Giles' body strength there, Jared. That's the thing about the ruck. You look at it too. McAvoy's only had 1 possession this quarter.
And he was the dominant player in the first.
Dal Santo, Armitage again finds some space where there really wasn't any. uses his speed, heads in the Riewoldt direction. And now the Saints are getting players everywhere around Riewoldt. First there was Geary. He looks up. Meister was ready.
Oh, close.
Must have been 8 St Kilda players. As soon as Nick Riewoldt was running towards that, knew that one of us are going to be used. We all just have to get into position so we're usable.
One more metre. That's it, straight back.
And a miss in the opening term by Meister. Push the margin back out to 40. It's been there a couple of times. That's a fantastic strike.
Well, it's just good ball movement, Shorey, from one side of the ground. They go across the other side of the ground. You see here Stephen Gillen just completely outclassed from an athleticism performance, but still not closing down. In the end, there's no real pressure. That's that ugly word in footy called corralling. I'm not sure who introduced it, but for mine it doesn't do too much.
Well, especially when you corral with 2 players going to the ball carrier, which means someone's got to be free, either handball off the speed or kick off the pack. Been a good get-bow, Master. He's a different type of player. They've got their 3 smalls. They've got Riewoldt's athleticism. Master can mark above his height, above his head pretty well. And if you put a small on him, he can get you that way.
Stephen, #1 player in the AFL last year for clearances leading to a score. So that's why they tried to shut him down before he could get away with that for another clearance. Wright almost gets away with it.
He's been in better form than Bo Wilkes, Shorey.
Yes.
Yeah, Bo Wilkes spent a year in the waffle and came back and proven to be a better player than he was at the West Coast. Montagna flicks it out. Good hassling though to stay in this GWS. McAvoy, a lot of time to spend that. Oh, Stephen went off the deck illegally, and Treloar can line up a goal from 50.
Great pressure, Dwayne. You called it in that standard of play. That's exactly what your forward line have to do it. I think we saw a fair bit of that in the Fremantle Essendon game.
6 times the margin's been out to 40 points.
Good kick.
And 6 times GWS have kicked a goal to keep themselves in it.
And a good crowd has turned up. Let's hope that the GWS can find something to give them some reward and encourage them back. They thought coming into the match that it may well have been a record crowd. There was a errant kick, could have been kicking in danger. There was the free kick. And he goes back and he delivers. Very nice shot at goal, good skills, and a well-earned free kick. They've got to get more of them and in a hurry.
You mentioned the crowd, Gerard. First ever night game for AFL points here in Canberra at Star Track Oval, as it's now known. Record crowd here, 14,922 for a Sydney North Melbourne game. And GWS just starting to try and make this their home. 3 home games a season here for the next 10 years. And they get a clearance. Can they get back-to-back goals?
Callum Ward again with a centre clearance. Geez, he's been good value for money.
Robertson to Jones. Patton reached down. Shield couldn't get that off the deck. Robertson, Stephen, Geary, and they want to go to the open side. Not a lot to go to. McAvoy.
That's a good kick.
And he made some ground to really make that. Well, the kick made him
Did it what?
get going quickly. And now they're open. Montagna looks up. Options are plenty for him again. He wants Meister. Gets it to him on the bounce. Caught. Dal Santo. Gilbert. Ton of time to spend it. Doesn't spend it wisely enough.
Sure, I mentioned this a couple of times already, but Jeremy Cameron's had 2 handballs. And he's just cruising up and down the ground. There's an opportunity here for him, I think, to show us what he's got. Riewoldt's a really good athlete. He can find out whether he can compete with him. He can learn from him. And at the moment, he's not getting them into the game or keeping them in the game. So I don't think there's much to lose. They've got 2 fairly slow defenders down there.
I'm with you.
Cameron might be an option.
Patton and Giles to jump for this with McAvoy.
Yeah, I think even a stint on ball for 7 minutes to see if he can do it as a tall midfielder, Gerard. He's smart. He finds space. But I'm with you. I've got no worries. You're probably not rolling the dice this early, but love to see it at half time.
Oh, 35 points down. Sure,
Yeah,
time
you're
to
right.
roll them.
Yep.
I mean, she's used to win premierships, putting blokes from full back to full forward.
No doubt.
Time to move Mohammed to the mountain. Heads wide, Malera. Too far out to score. Meister. Spectacular pass, but the lead was just as good into space. And Riewoldt, not in that picture, peeled out of that space to allow Meister to lead as a secondary option behind him. Good teamwork.
And they would have talked about this time, Shuri, the red zone, if you like, or the red time. Clock ticking down to just under 8 minutes of play remaining. This is when they're getting killed. And they can either be competitive at half-time or they can be blown off the map.
We've ticked into time on in the second term. Made the goal umpire do a bit of dancing, and he's missed a couple that are relatively easy this evening by Meister. Stephen Gillum.
Good facility now, Shuri.
Oh,
Star Trek Stadium with the lights and the day-night fixturing. Better stuff here from GWS.
Straight down the middle, Smith. He wants Patton. He's in a good spot.
Mark this.
Can he get the crumb though? Dragged down. Spectacular tackle. It wasn't high. Crowd wanted a free. Don't get it. And that's almost ball.
He's in trouble here.
Patton knee.
And it's the knee that he went overseas to get treated. Let's hope.
Oh.
He's in a big trouble.
Well, the umpire will have to wait here. So will they make the decision on what's going to happen here?
Had knee surgery overseas to rectify a problem that at the time they said was minor. Let's hope that's only minor.
Oh, gee, you can see him grimace in pain, Dwayne. Just as he goes down here, you just see right there. Oh,
Or
he knew.
was it before that when he tried to change direction and prop on it? There's a hush here at Manuka. He's their gun. He's their pick one. They've been patient. Let's have another look here. Glance the foot.
Oh,
It
Jared,
might be ankle.
Well, we all believe it is the right ankle, and it may be significantly damaged, but I think everybody would be taking a right
Exactly,
ankle.
no doubt.
Nice Clark Lee. And the two first gamers together to Wright, to Malera. And the Saints are showing no mercy here. GWS having their big gun taken off. And in the meantime, the Saints want to land another blow. Gilbert inside 50.
Good defensive running there by Scully. He really did work hard.
36 points the margin if you have just joined us. The Saints opened up with 5-0 in the opening term. And Jonathan Patton, you would think they would use their sub, Sam Reid. And the Saints have already used their sub with Nunes done for the afternoon. Milne can sniff an opportunity from 45. Can't give him space. Got to.
Well, that's...
He was just sitting off the back loving it there, Shuri, wasn't he?
Well, Dwayne said space. I agree, it is space, but the defensive structure here, what's happened? The Milne, his man's just gone straight to the pack and kicked an airy. But the problem is you don't allow a player like Steve Milne to just flop off the back of the pack like that. Look at him. How smart's that, Jared? Take your player in. Look, just get out the back, and that's why you've kicked how many goals he kicked for his career, Dwayne? Plenty.
550 plus.
Well, boys, they've taken Patton straight down the race. They'll assess him, no doubt, and we'll hear if there's a sub or not very soon.
Stephen Milne. Been an outstanding career when you think about it. 261 games and 550 goals now. And he just keeps on keeping on. Scully, turnover. Armitage, Dal Santo, the 1-2. They're not done just yet. They might be 42 points up, and that's the biggest margin of the game, by the way. But they want to make this margin 10 goals at half-time if they can. Hand off by Robton, back to Armitage. Meister, crunch. Was that a legal crunch? Was an attempt at a mark? Ray, the sub, wasn't expecting to play. To Wright, kicking for his first ever AFL goal. Doesn't get it.
Yeah, he got there about the same time, Dwayne. I think it was on the surface of it legal. It was gutsy effort as well. You could probably argue either way that he challenged him front on.
He's come all the way up to half back to get a touch for you, gentlemen. Jeremy Cameron.
I'd just say stay there at this stage, Dwayne, but he's working, and now the Patton's off the ground, they're restricted in their options.
Might also say something about the form of Reece Stanley and what he offers to this club now as a backman.
Yep. Geary to Jones. Now they'll want to probably peel to the open side to Robertson. Has to come back to Geary. Wright.
Well, that's putting your man under pressure.
Yeah, Hayes probably called for it, and when a man like Benny Hayes calls for it, you kind of got to give it in your first game, but should have been wiser knowing Hayes was about to be shut down. Shield, Bug.
Smart
Whitfield.
play from Brogan. That was 35 years of experience.
Cameron in a 1-on-2. Armitage. And again, a hush falls over Star Trek Oval. GWS fans that have come today have been disappointed from the outset. Stanley uses that speed to the outer side. Green, Davis, and untidy use. Ward, Cornelio. Cameron's his target. Can he get the set? One hand at it, not the second. Ray cut it off just in time. Armitage, they're playing with them, the Saints. Gilbert and Armitage. Green. Some applause. Giles.
Every time they kick long, Dwayne, that's where they scored their goals, either Crum or Mark.
Brogan couldn't get the jump at it. Hoskin Elliott couldn't crumb it. Robertson fitted in like hand and glove into his new club. Malera, Fisher, look out. They're on the march again. Montagna looks up and he's got Riewoldt. And Riewoldt will look up and have Sard if it sits. Sard's on his own inside 50. Riewoldt sees him now. Doesn't quite hit him. Good enough to get up, go back, get it and give to Geary. That's how much time they had to spend it. Geary a little concerned about the distance. For a 49-point lead. And they are on track to break a few records here in Canberra. But not with kicks like that. Stays in play. Scully. Not the kind of chaos ball you want to be giving back to the opposition. Armitage got it from Montagna. To Geary. To Ray. Sumner hasn't seen a lot of it yet.
No, we'd like to see him get involved a bit more because of that reason. He just makes good decisions. And this is the sort of GWS action that we expected coming here, Shuri. A bit of run and link.
Take it on.
Whitfield, little fumble. It still works for him. Oh, no. Stephen hunted him down. That was ruthless.
It was great defence by St Kilda too, though. There was 4 players charging down. They're a long way in front. That's a good sign, and Scott Waters will be thrilled with that as much as anything.
Geary again. 2 minutes to half time, and it can't come quickly enough for GWS. They need to go in and reassess where they're at. Montagna. Competitive in patches in their opening 2 games, Greater Western Sydney. But they have been blown away from the outset in this. Malera. Riewoldt.
This man is just leaving a merry dent. No defender can go with Nick Riewoldt at the moment. Look, that happens a lot, even with senior players playing against him. And I'm with you. I think the Cameron move is just something as an education.
Hayes wants Meister. He puts it up so Meister can jump at it. Got a hand on it. Got an arm knocked. Green. Backtracks. This is the kick that needs to be good. Made it tough for Cornelio, but he was clever enough to shield. Tried to take on Robertson, lost. Ball in.
Like that one. You see Robertson have a go at Liam Shield, who said they were going to run him off their feet.
A big stat, boys, is 29 inside 50s for 18 shots a goal. It's a pretty big percentage when you think about it.
Brogan and McAvoy. Nice palm down. Ward. Cameron on the bounce nicely. to Smith. Open forward line, no one to kick to. He's got Sumner running for him now. Geary's trying to shut down Sumner. That kick not so good. It was in front of Sumner and it wasn't at the goals. He should have probably gone for the goals.
Yeah, in the end, Dwayne, he made a poor decision. He was attempting to kick a goal and it was beyond his distance. Sure, he needed just to hold and float and wait and get Sumner into a position.
Inside the last minute. This might be the last chance for a GWS score for the half. Blake, Dal Santo, Ray. He's enjoying a game after not thinking he was going to play today. Treloar, bang, is that 50?
Yeah, late contact.
This will be a goal-kicking opportunity for Treloar if he's not hurt. And Malera could go in the book for that.
Guys, settle down, let it go! Let it go!
Milne.
Walk away, Stephen!
Letting them know about it. Trying to protect Malera.
Well, it's the old adage now, you've got the free kick, Dwayne, you don't want to give it back to the opposition. We can have a shot at goal from probably 20 metres out. But good to see them sticking up for each other and standing up for each other as a young side. But be smart.
Plowman went down, a little nudge. Finally some spice in what's been a pretty bland round 3 so far from Greater Western Sydney. Yeah, late but not high.
Yeah. 50-metre penalty, that's all I would think, Dwayne.
Adam Treloar, we know he can play, had a 37 possession game last year against Collingwood. Makes no mistake, and maybe they can take some momentum in at half-time.
Well, he can certainly play. We've seen him put his form and skills on the line many times last year, and also off to a really good start again this season. But it was an undisciplined cheap shot in the end, sure, but as you say, it was just 50 metres. And he duly got up and took the shot just to give them a little bit of credibility at the half-time break.
Adam Treloar, 2 of their 5. 5 goals now for GWS. Dean Brogan with the other double. And Jonathan Patton with a single. But Jonathan Patton off, injured at the moment. Dying seconds opening half. Treloar gets the clearance. Can they get a mark from this in the dying seconds? Canelio overran it. Shield caught by Hayes. Treloar almost a chance at goal number 3. Green from outside 50. Fisher should cut this off. Jones on the siren. It's been a ruthless St Kilda here at Star Trek Oval in this opening half. They've come here and they've gone to work on GWS. And right now they're looking at their first victory in 2013, the Saints. Still a lot of game to be played yet. Good crowd, perfect night for football. Stick around, but at halftime, it's the Saints by 37.
Well, Leon, you've been pretty good for the last couple of weeks, but blown out of the water today.
Yeah, first quarter was really disappointing, Bads. I think the second quarter we matched them in terms of goal for goal, but they have probably had about 10 more scoring shots in us. So we settled in the second quarter. We're happy with it back in the 15-minute mark of the second quarter. But the first quarter, yeah, their running power, their ball use just blew us away. We were disappointed.
So the message at half-time to get back in this game, was it all about that?
Oh yeah, I think just in the last 15 minutes, I reckon we got in behind them a fair bit, and started to run and use the footy a little bit. But it's like anything. If you use the ball and get rewarded with your inside 50s, and all of a sudden you put them on the back foot, which we just didn't get an inside 50 in the first quarter. So, look, massive challenge for us, but our energy's really good. The boys are confident. They think that they can come out and outscore them in this quarter.
And the big news for you guys is Patton's gone down. Do you know the extent of the injury?
No, look, they're assessing his ankle and his knee at the moment. Look, it's probably highly unlikely he'll come in, so we probably have to sub him out and bring in Sam Reid. So until we actually get to the end of the game in terms of work out how bad it is, we'll wait.
Well, good luck for the second half. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Bates. Cheers.
Leon Cameron, who's going to be coaching Greater Western Sydney Giants next year, and it has been confirmed to us that Patton has been subbed out of the game. You can see Sam Reid there, the bearded Sam Reid with the shoulder strap, so he is into the game. And we can also confirm that it looks as if it's going to be more knee than ankle.
Yeah, I think it's a
Patton.
combination, Dwayne, but the greatest concern is, as you just said, over the knee. So may have a slight sprain of that ankle, Shorey, but let's hope that we aren't seeing the Big Mac, because he's a good young talent, and this group needs to come through together, and he's one of the key players.
Let's mention Leon Cameron, who's going to be coaching next year. I think he did the majority of the coaching pre-game as well. Kevin Sheedy was addressing some corporates on the Oval.
He's coaching now.
He's coaching now already.
He's
Leon
coaching
Cameron.
now.
Well, it looked like that pre-game.
We know what Kevin does. Kevin's doing a lot of that work, for the club, just selling the club, and he'd be doing a little bit during the year. But all the football stuff has been either Mark Williams prior or Leon Cameron now.
Kevin Sheedy will probably do his finest work at the conclusion of this if it continues to go like this. Try and put a positive spin on what's been a young team blown out of the water by a team looking for their first victory of 2013. Hacked inside 50. Riewoldt's been a star. Lee lays a tackle. Milne wanting to swoop here. Kennedy pokes that. Makes it tough for Whitfield. Edged out of it. Good attack from Ward. He's over it. Stevens stole it from him. Dal Santo. No one to go to by foot. To Stephen by hand. Likewise, caught. So some good pressure early. GWS. Kennedy paid the mark even though he didn't pull it in, but they need a couple of breaks from the umpires. Greater Western Sydney right now.
Well, that was a terrific intercept from Kennedy. He came off initially and he kicked the ball back in his first possession this quarter. That's got to get better, Shorey. But each one of these kids every day and at the end of every game would get a list of the things that they've got to get better at. One of them wouldn't be acting, but if you want some coaching, maybe you could get it there.
Eric Banner, Saints fan.
The star of Troy.
He's had a few good ones.
I spoke to him about his training regime for that too, Dwayne.
And what did he say?
Unbelievable.
Okay.
As hard as he's ever done in any film.
You would have seen Chopper, Shorey.
He put on weight for that one, Buzz. That was easy.
Dal Santo hands it over the top. Malera from 40. They're a joy to watch right now, the Saints.
Yeah, this is what I saw in the NAB Cup series, Dwayne. I saw a really exciting forward setup for the Saints. The question is going to be, Shorey, through the season is can they do it against the high-pressure sides?
Yeah.
Small forwards are running right. Wouldn't be surprised if they completely get hold of GWS down in the back half of the match or the back half of this second half of the game. But they've got the challenges in games like last week against the Tigers. Was a nice old scrap. Can they break out and kick a winning score? We'll know more in another month or two.
I think the big thing too, Jared, is just their midfield speed. Now Stevens helps that, so I think that's a big bonus. They need just to add a couple more that can do that and run the lines like Stevens, because I think their speed can be a factor against some of the best midfields in the competition, and that means your supply is not as good.
Ward with the clearance.
Oh, got his jumper.
So Wright was held, and he's had a good first game, Nathan Wright. Used pick 24 to get him. And right now, he's showing that he might have the goods to stay in this lineup. No Schneider, no Dempster, no Aaron Sipos for the Saints today.
Well, the other one, sure, is Gilbert moving to the wing. That gives him a little bit more speed in the centre of the ground too.
Now, how will the umpire judge that? Deliberate.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, Ray Chamberlain was on the spot.
Over. Cross the line, thank you.
Cornelio. 43 points the margin, equal biggest lead of the game. All the way back to Stephen Gillam.
Well, if you go back to Gillam, you've got to have someone, if you're looking to switch the play, who's on. It's going to be a slow switch. And they'll get there right now, Dwayne.
So Bug across to Davis. And that's a good outlet kick to Moore, who can get and go, although Malera just corrals him, shuts him down. Should have just played on around him regardless, just taken off straight away. Cameron really made it his own there. Ward got it up just in time to Smith. And that could be a free to Giles.
Well, it was slow, but it was a good transition in the end. Didn't look good initially, sure, but they gradually got the ball into some space. There was a kick from Phil Davis that actually set this one up. It was a nice long kick, got it into space. There's the free kick. And he's been a pretty fair target, Giles.
Well, maybe, the pattern injury, you don't want it to happen, Jerry, but what it means now, you've only got the 2 bigs and maybe 4 smalls, which might open an avenue for them at ground level.
And again, he shanks it horrendously.
Don't like those big blokes sitting on top of the square, Jerry.
I don't think it's got anything to do. It's just written by the footy gods. Round 3 is the round of the shank.
We like a good themed round in the AFL as well.
I'm not sure why Gillon McLaughlin hasn't come up with that before, but I think the players have adopted it, one for themselves.
Meister to Fisher. Robertson. It's coming off a 15 possession first half, so he was one of their better performers. To Geary.
He had good as well. Had some pace as well. There's nice work down below the knees. And again, Phil Davis just getting led to the ball. Sure, it's tough because he's such a great player, Riewoldt. Maybe he's got to take a front position.
Oh, no doubt.
Little flick from Stephen Milne works. Malera might go for the miracle.
Oh, a bit of layer eyes in there. And it's out a few of his teammates are sitting on top of the square saying, hey, let's play the straight back. I'm with you about Nick Riewoldt. Let's have a look here. Oh, Stevie Milne, very smart player. But Nick Riewoldt doesn't jump on heads.
Look, we will have a look for Sard as well. Sure, he was at the top of the square and not overly happy. And justifiably so. I mean, if they're going to play well, they're going to have to trust each other. They're going to have to handball and kick away many goals to each other, but it'll even out at the season's end.
Smith wide, Riewoldt with Davis. Fists it across the boundary line so the Saints can start all over again.
He's only kicked the 1 goal, Nick Riewoldt, so yeah. He's been used in a different role, though. They've gone through the smalls tonight, so he's been that conduit from half back, coming off half forward, and not the goal kicker.
Amazing clearance player he's become. Armitage inside 50. This might bounce all the way into the post with a little touch from Moore. This beard, sushi chef haircut, sends it long, and that's a good play over the top. Nice mark from Whitfield, showing what he's got as a #1 pick, the Shield. And now Smith can have another bounce and go for goal if he wants to. Runs to the 50, sends it long. Spectacular. Biggest highlight of the night so far for Greater Western Sydney.
Well, it all came off the back of a really nice mark, sure, a talented mark, exciting mark to see a young kid like Whitfield go up, and then Smarts. Look, this is footy Smarts. Goes up, grabs it, reads the play, understands exactly what's going on. Okay, gives it to the wide player because he knows there's going to be a bit of drawn space. And we see Shield, he just exposes his teammate to a real opportunity at goal. The 1-2 is a beauty.
Well, we heard Leon Cameron. He said they wanted to even up the quarter if they can, and that's how they're going to have to do it. They've got to get the ball on the outside. Inside, I think St Kilda just got 2 stronger bodies, but this stuff, releasing the ball quick.
Cornelio to Ward, Stanley with Brogan, and he's always going to outrun Dean Brogan. Sprays that a little, and close to the boundary and out of play. It's been goal for goal for the last 12 goals, so they have held their own at least in the last 35 minutes of this game.
Really like that last centre clearance. It was Cornelio coming off the line and got first possession and laid it off.
Giles with the flick down, but Armitage too clever to Stephen again. Handball to the back of Lenny Hayes.
Again, inside Armitage doing his work. I mean, he is the man who will take over from Lenny Hayes. Have a look here, Cornelio. #3 coming in off the back of the square. Goes straight in. Geary gives him some space, just lays it off. And a good centre clearance. Pity that they couldn't just centre the ball a little bit more for big Roy Brogan.
The down the ground vision is the vision that the coaches often use to do their coaching midweek. Tends to tell the story well. Giles did the hard work. Still got a clearance. Slick. Smith got that up just in time to Ward. Fisher cuts it off. Hemmed in by Reid. Dal Santo, turnover. Shield again. Can they get 2 in a row? Neither team has got 2 in a row for 12 goals now. Cameron. And this becomes a big kick for momentum.
Oh, it does. And it won't suit his left foot, Dwayne. He really has to start this probably halfway between the point and the goalpost, because a natural left foot hook. You just see him here. It's not natural unless he puts it across his boot as a boomerang, an opposite boomerang for a left footer.
It's kicked 4-3 this year. And for the first time since the opening term, a team has kicked 2 in a row, and GWS on the fight back.
Well, it came off a number of clearances. Both the last 2 goals have come off clearances where they've got the ball out. Good tackle, good pressure. And we just know that when you put the hand in Dylan Shields' hands, he normally makes the right decision. And they just got back. That's better work by Cameron. You either come at the ball carrier, go figure 8, or just work backwards in the space if you're key forward, and hopefully your player protects your back behind the contest.
Crowd starting to find some voice finally in this historic game here at Star Track Oval, as it's now known in Canberra. Plowman hits a little wide. Oscar Elliott makes it work. Sits that a little on Reid. Robertson had that. Reid crumbs it. Treloar, slip. Turnover. Armitage. Montagna coming off a 20 possession opening half. Hayes flicks it down. Armitage had runners in the middle. Gilbert hands it off immediately to Jones. Made Meister work. Jones tried to go off the deck. Smith back to Moore. Dragged down, didn't have it.
It's been a really good battle between him and Meister. He's won a lot of one-on-ones. Moore. Meister's grabbed a couple of competitive marks. Should have kicked 3 goals. He's just the one at the moment.
25 years of age this year, Tim Moore, so an experienced player. Won a Scorpions best and fairest a few years ago in the VFL.
And that kick just gives it back to the Saints, who are just starting to just slow it up a little bit to gain some control of the match again.
Nathan Wright.
It's been impressive, Dwayne. You're right. He's been high possession winner off that half-back line.
Hasn't been overawed, although it is an easier opposition in terms of the pressure that GWS would bring compared to one of the top clubs. Hayes, he can go. Didn't want to.
That's it, thank you.
But every Greater Western Sydney player ahead of him as he kicks this wide.
There, Tom, stay there.
Blake. And he has every Greater Western Sydney player ahead of him.
Stephen,
Armitage.
Tom, stay there. Play on.
Now the bomb to the square perhaps. Flicks it wide.
Meister's waiting.
Stephen keeps it low. Was dumped after he kicked it. Meister marked it regardless. And Meister will have the shot.
It's your free kick. It's down for free. Hey, Toby, go with.
Umpires calling the shots.
Oscar Elliott, I think, gave that free kick away. Good to see Armitage go on and say, "What'd you do that for, son?" He sort of said, "I didn't mean it." And he goes, "That's okay." Unbelievable.
Stop the run from Greater Western Sydney. The Giants have kicked the last 2. There's your reply.
And I think Leon Cameron would be pretty disappointed in that one. Just a sloppy free kick after the fact. Here's Jack Stevens with the ball. Look for Hoskin Elliott to come in. Bit late. Decks him. Nothing too savage in it, but he may well have marked it anyway, Meister. But Moore had actually given up the ghost because he'd heard the whistle. And he's got an unusual kicking style in that he goes to the 8-iron most of the time, sure. He gets a lot of height in it.
Margin back to 37. Scott Waters knows the winner of this contest moves up to the back of the teams inside the 8, just behind them. Keeps their season alive. Dal Santo. Kept low by Gilbert. Lee Hasn't seen a lot of it in game one. Hands it off to Malera, takes it out. And we'll get a ball in.
Temperature's dropped considerably down here, boys. It's getting really, really cold. And as we spoke about the dew before the game, it's going to get a little bit slippery pretty soon.
See Cameron having a rest, but not far from coming back on. Green. And that'll be coming back either from a free kick. Yep. It was either going to be delivered or on the full. Robertson.
Unlike Toby Green, sure, he doesn't make those sorts of mistakes.
Nah.
It's in a bit of a flat patch.
Ray to Gilbert. Blake could go for goal from there. Heads wide. Lee can't mark. Umpire's found something.
Any contact from the front.
And Malera, front on contact. It's going to take. But Malera or Armitage, they look at each other. Armitage to take it off the ball.
Against Tom Scully, I think it was. Front on contact. You heard Ray bark out the instructions.
16 possession opening half for David Armitage. And he started well in this third as well. Already kicked 2 goals this afternoon. Can't make it 3. Slackened off a little, the Saints.
Well, danger signs, Dwayne, for me, when we saw Malera basically ignore his teammate, go for a goal-hungry shot at goal. It just gives you an insight into what's in at least one person's mind. He's thinking about himself rather than thinking about the team. And it's the sort of stuff Scott Waters would talk about, wouldn't get angry about, but it can run through a side. And it then takes a significant effort to just reset, reboot and get back to playing team footy.
Saints have Essendon next week, so it's going to get tougher after this. Stephen. Low ball and cut off very well by Kennedy. And now they peel to the open side. Scully can get and go. It's got Whitfield ahead of him short or Cameron Long. Cameron's direction. He's got 2 to beat. Hands to it, ball to the front, no crummers. Geary.
Bad kick.
You can't long bomb because the Saints have just got so many numbers. Kennedy's playing really well in defence in this quarter and out the back.
This is his first goal in AFL football coming up for Tom Lee. And they won't get any easier than that.
But it all comes off the back of a long bomb, Shorey, too. Really, a bloke who's got heaps of talent, but he's not going to win against 4 defenders. And here comes the return. And everybody just pushes up the ground and over the back. Oh, how good's this?
Yeah. Joe the Gooser for your first in AFL football. But you're right, Jared, that was Tom Scully. Then you either hit a man coming up at you or you kick the ball to the advantage of the player who you're going to kick long to, even if it's the boundary line, to get a stoppage.
Was on Adelaide's list. Failed to get a game for the Crows. As I mentioned earlier, GWS had first rights on him and they ended up trading him to the Saints. Saints used pick 12 to essentially get Tom Lee and pick 24. Scully long to half, in fact Ward long to half forward, and Cameron protected the drop zone well. Okay, so Bug gets an opportunity.
Well, that just shows you the skill Cameron's got. But with that kick that went to him just a couple of minutes ago before the other goal, St Kilda goal, gave him no hope. At least he could protect that fall of the ball. And we know, look, he needs another 2 years in the gym. He's going to be a strong player, but he's a smart player and he knows how to protect that area most of the time.
Tom Bug, 20 years of age now, former Caulfield Grammar captain, the same club that gave us Chris Judd. Named school post. Biggest winning margin here at Manuka Oval / Star Track Oval, as it's now known, is 55 points. So the Saints are threatening a record win here with this 43-point margin as it stands right now. And it's there for them if they want to get going again. Over the head of Dal Santo to the middle. Cornelio. Waited. Sumner. Reed. Handball a little sloppy. Whitfield clever enough to make it look okay. Cornelio to Hampton. And the look-away handball was ugly. Stephen can take off if he gets a Shepherd. He toes it to his own advantage. Sard couldn't get in there to Shepherd. Good work by Ward, tried to cut it off. Sard, Montagna.
And that's the sort of stuff that they want. They want the small forwards interacting with each other. He's going to get a 50 for the clip behind the ear. As a down of the Sydney Swans, much was made of the Bloods and their ethos. How did you deal with the issue of the sharing around of goals that were easy enough to go for yourself?
Oh, look, you'd certainly reward the guy who shares them before the guy who kicks them, and that's certainly how we did it. Look, there was, if you were a little bit selfish, you were certainly told about it, and not by one bloke, by a lot of blokes. And you certainly wouldn't do it again if you did it once.
Leigh Montagna will play his 200th game in round 9. Pushes this lead out to the biggest margin of the game, 49 points.
Curtly Hampton then just on the half-back line, the look-away handball, which didn't hit the target. But just well done to Jack Stevens, kept it alive a couple of times, showing you don't have to pick the ball up. You can sock the ball out in front of you and still keep it fair control. See, I don't know whether about the 50 was there, Jerry. You've got to try and make some impact, but well done to Montagna to keep his head up. It's all about technique when you know it's coming and bearing down on you.
That may be so, Shuri, but Eric Benner's been giving specialist coaching.
If you just joined us, GWS had a scoreless opening term, could not even muster a behind in the opening term here, and they're paying the price right now. Farron Ray, late inclusion with Aaron Sipos unable to take his place in this lineup. To Hayes, to Armitage. They're having a field day right now. They have their foot on the throats of every GWS player, and they have been relentless. Lee just kicked his first goal in AFL football, gives this back to Armitage.
Dwayne, I just saw gold. I've seen a passage of gold that we've got to replay. It was Lenny Hayes doing what very, very few players have ever been able to do. It was absolutely magnificent. Have a look at this. That is one of the great cells. 3/4 of the way through a kicking action, maintains possession, whips out the handball, creates a great goal.
David Armitage finish it all off and push this margin out past 50 points for the first time tonight. Hope you're enjoying this back home, Saints fans. It's the best you've seen in 2013.
I've enjoyed the work rate of this young bloke. It wasn't a huge rap for him early in the piece, but there it is, Shuri. Look at that for a sell, and then the give at the same time. But David Armitage is really just showing everybody what it takes to be a league footy. Yes, you've got to have talent. That gets you usually a draft opportunity, but then you've got to turn yourself into an AFL player, and that sometimes takes 5 minutes, or sometimes takes 5 years, and Armitage finally got there.
Fair game.
Absolutely.
The blinder.
Well, I've just been trying to pick up who his man been. He's run forward 3 times without anybody within 20 metres. So midfield responsibilities, I think GWS will be looking at that at 3/4 time.
McAvoy from the ball up, and he gets his own clearance this time. Meister can't mark. Kennedy Crumbs to reload from defence. But again, the Saints have numbers. From the outset, it's looked as if they've got an extra 2 or 3 men. Green. Whitfield, this is better. To Smith from 45. Delightful.
Great play. Well, just fantastic play. And again, the outside ball, that's what it was. A bad bounce on the half-back line too. I think it was here. All the Saints players, you called it, Dwayne, they had players and they had numbers there. But it was Nathan Wright, the ball just bounced cruelly. That's what happens in this game. But that is good play for Whitfield. Just to keep the ball just inside the corridor and know that your teammate's going to run in a straight line at goal. Sold a little bit of the dummy. But that's the talent that this side's going to show over the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, we just saw it was Adam Kennedy again, Shuri, who I've been really impressed with in this quarter. He has picked up the ball half a dozen times, and he has been the creator the first possession man of a chain that has ended up in a goal. He makes good decisions. They've got a player there, the GWS.
Montagna the clearance. Good and play. Davis, body on the line, and he's hurt. No, he's okay.
Jared, just wanted to ask you about Justin Kaczynski. Where's he at, and is he going to have an impact in 2013? I know Leigh's come in as that tall forward type. Is he going to have an impact this year?
Well, that all depends probably on Justin, because at the moment he looks like he's out of favour with the coach, and he's going to have to rely on either injury or rotations, or perhaps just giving other blokes a rest, Baz. But you're right, he's now looking as if he's certainly not the preferred option.
And 50. Benjamin Kennedy again, Jared.
He's a good player, Dwayne. He's a real find. Usually makes good decisions. He's a kid. He's going to make plenty of mistakes, and they get highlighted down there. But from what I've seen of him throughout his short term, he's going to be a long-term player for this club.
He started with the Western Jets as an outside runner. Sumner. Cut off by Wright, and he's got the options. Robertson for the 1-2. Just ignored him. Meister. Good fist away by Davis.
Well, do you think it's a choice between Meister or Kaczynski at certain times? Different types, Jared. I'd still go with Meister because he gives you something different. And the other thing, Kaczynski, can he help in the ruck? But does that make you big? You've got McAvoy there. Stanley's become a defender now.
Well, I think the other option they've got is Hickey, Shorey. I think he looks like he's going to get the preferred run. But I mean, he will be used on the list, you reckon, Baz, at some stage, just to keep him involved and keep him fresh in case there is some injuries. But at the moment he looks like he's about 3 deep.
And we spoke about Scotty Waters saying about rebuilding, so maybe Cozzy with his age he's off the radar.
Another torpedo attempt, this one not as good.
That's okay. Mongrels are fine one as long as they don't end up in the hands of the opposition.
Cameron to Davis, there's another mongrel.
That's a really good kick. It's just a
Look
space.
at the speed here, though.
Elliott has got plenty.
And if that stays in,
well done.
is it going to be called deliberate?
Oh, you couldn't do that. Their pressure was on the ball carrier as soon as he got it. And the umpire made the right decision.
Sometimes they're not as kind as that, Tony.
That's the sort of gut-busting running, though, we didn't see in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, they are now basically behind the same sort of margin as a quarter time. It's cost them probably any genuine chance of a win because they weren't working hard enough early enough.
Stanley, Robertson, Ray. And to the open side, Fisher. He's got Milne working for him.
This has been the other part of the game, the switch of the Saints against GWS. It's been nearly non-existent. When they've done it, GWS, it's been okay.
Milne's pass to Riewoldt was terrible. Cameron cut it off to Davis and they can reload.
Cameron looks like he's up on the ball now, Jared.
Sumner. High bomb. Smith's got a couple to beat. Ray too good.
Well, they've got to be smarter than that. Sure, they can look up and you can see you've got a small forward line. You don't bomb the ball. You kick it out along the ground. You might as well grub it.
Open corridor was there for Nathan Wright. Told to go back by his teammates. Not sure why.
That's it, hold him on now.
Baz, they're a work in progress. We know that GWS, if you were advising Steve Silvani as to what sort of player they need, a senior player to put in a hole, who would it be or what type of player would it be?
Well, I think their backmen, they're a bit thin down there at the moment. They're tall key backmen.
Chad Corns has been a big omission for them for sure.
He has. He's been fantastic for him, but unfortunately not out there. I think we see Nick Riewoldt running riot. I think that's the sort of player they need. Someone to shut down a Nick Riewoldt. Someone to shut down a big power forward.
Okay. What about a forward though, Baz? What about 1.5 million per year for Lance Franklin?
You'd probably take him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd probably go with that one, Jared.
I know for a fact they are up looking at a ruckman too, boys, trying to get next year. Because both Giles and Brogan, they're workmanlike, and that's what Giles gives you.
These days you can't really recruit 18-year-old ruckmen because they take so long.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there's so many ruckmen who just get out there and go to the recycle bin.
Well, the other thing too, one thing about with free agency, you mightn't be out of contract this year, but you're losing the next year for nothing. Would you deal with 1 year of a contract still in place? A lot of sides will be doing that now.
Well, look what the Kangaroos have done. They've gone out and got Daniel Curry. You may well have played with Baz up in the Sydney Swans, but he is an AFL ruckman just ready for an opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. I did play with him in Sydney. Geez, his development's been dramatic. I never thought I'd see him do some of the stuff he's been doing, but good on him. It's great to see. a young bloke who's working hard with the rapid development that he's progressed with.
50-point margin, by the way, 101 to 51. They've won every quarter so far, the Saints. They were 34 points up quarter time, 37 up at half time, and they're looking set to win this third term as well. And they need the win. They need some percentage. They need to stay in contention. They need to give their fans and their season some hope. This was a must-win for St Kilda.
So if the Saints solve their defensive problem, Baz, with Stanley going down, now we know Gwilt's injured, and a couple of other of their senior players are injured from the back half. But does Stanley become that man and they don't then go to the draft table looking for another tall?
Well, from what I've seen tonight, and particularly this year, the first few games he's played, he's been outstanding. He really has. And as I said, all the attributes of a real good key backman. He's got speed, he's got closing speed, and he's a fairly good size.
Treloar, that wasn't really what he was hoping to do, although the chaos ball does occasionally work. Ray, Wright, Hayes, Wright.
He's done well today.
Some speed. Gilbert, Dal Santo, and the run from defence. He takes on Brogan, was always going to win that battle to Milne. He'll see some big sticks ahead of him.
Ducked his head.
Got away with it, got a handball out. Meister from 40. No.
He's had some shots, hasn't he?
Yeah, he could have kicked 5 or 6. He does like giving it some air, though.
Hampton to Bug. 1 minute to three-quarter time. Scully. Reed, his target. Geary Ripe with him. And almost worries him out of it. To Ray. Stephen. Lenny. One last chance to the Saints score.
What's the message for GWS at three-quarter time? Is it go play, boys, or is it defensive? Let's not get blown away too much.
Well, I'll be just getting them to run hard defensively and then try and link up the ball going into the forward line. I want to see them continue to try and kick goals, Baz.
Milne long.
But to do it, they're going to have to work. And I think they've worked pretty hard at this quarter. I think they've done quite well.
Armitage. Stephen. Spears it inside 50. Passard. Again, the chaos ball might work. Brogan slips it over the top to Hampton. He should run these seconds down and run Malira to half-back. Clever work to Plowman. Three-quarter time. They didn't exactly blow GWS away in that third term, St Kilda, but they're killing them softly. 15-12, 102 to 8-3, 51. They've doubled their score, 51 points the margin at three-quarter time. Picturesque Manuka Oval, Star Track Oval now as it's known in Canberra for this round 3 historic encounter. First game here for AFL points under lights, and the Saints meant business from the outset. Stephen Milne, Terry Malera, perfect start for the Saints. They kicked 5-4 to no score in the opening term. It took the 35-year-old Dean Brogan to get them going the second. He kicked a couple of goals, but then this. John Patton, their number 1 pick, done a knee. And then it was goal for quite a while. Half-time margin, though, 37 points in favour of the Saints. Third term also goal for a while. Devon Smith got into the action. Jeremy Cameron also giving them hope. But then Tom Lee, in his first game of AFL football, kicks his first goal. Eric Banner was pleased. And it's a pleasing scoreline if you're a Saints fan hoping for a first victory in 2013. 51 points the margin at three-quarter time. 15-12, 102 to 8-3, 51. Tony Shaw, you had the Comcam on Nick Riewoldt in the third.
Well, I did, and the reason being I just want to see or show the GWS some of their forwards the work ethic of a champion player. Now, here he starts in front. Now, I don't know about Phil Davis' positioning. I've never seen Nick Riewoldt jump on someone's head. It just comes up now. This is just floating time. Doubles back, making space for himself. And it's not a big push here, but just know, yeah, come on. I've made that space to that side. Phil Davis slips over. to positioning, that's one thing that was poor, but it just shows you as a forward, you have to make your own space. You've got to make space for other people behind the line, and that's why this man has been one of the greatest forwards the game's seen. And the other thing, Jared, is that he makes space for other people. Tonight, those three smalls are where they thought they had an advantage.
Yeah, well, you just saw there, perpetual motion. The ball's not in his area. He doesn't even know if it's going to come to his area, but he's always on the move. And if you want to make it in this game and you want to make it to the top end, you don't have to have, you've just got to eradicate your walk time. This is when you walk, in between the sirens. Once the siren goes, you have got to be just continuously moving, moving.
The other thing that you brought up too, and I agree with you about Phil Davis, I've never seen Nick Riewoldt, well, we've seen him take a couple of pat mutts, but he doesn't do it well. I would be playing 2 metres inside the corridor, 2 metres in front, make him go to the side he doesn't want, which is for a right footer, exactly where he had him. But to just follow him in, he'll get you on the lead every time because he does that perpetual motion.
Yeah, and in that area, he's just going to push off and go. If you haven't got the speed to catch him, you've got no chance.
Final term underway. It'll be a first victory coming up to the Saints, but there is the big question mark. Will they put the foot down and win by plenty, or will GWS fight back in this final term? Green. Over the head of Smith. And the first gamer right. 1-2 with Milne outside the boundary. It's an amazing sliding door story, Nathan Wright. There was a player who everybody was talking about going to be a star of the future. Young Garlett, Dale Garlett from Western Australia, had to withdraw from the AIS squad to go overseas. And it was Nathan Wright who was the last man included to take his spot. And he not only took his spot, he got drafted through good form, and Dale Garlett missed out on last year's draft. There can be moments like that that can cost you a career. Let's hope Dale Garlett does get picked up at some stage, because Nathan Wright looks like a footballer, and his career is well and truly up and running. Kennedy, long inside 50. Stanley got there with a fist, and here's Nathan Wright on cue. Armitage, Stanley, Meister. Good attack from Stephen, just left it behind. More. Too high.
Tackle! Let him up, let him up! Thank you, stay there. Play on.
To the hot spot, in hope. Blake's down there, Brogan with the fist. Cameron gave it to Giles. Oh, good opening for GWS for this final term.
Well, Dwayne's been the key position, those ruckmen at the moment. Giles kicking that goal. I know I haven't been happy, but with Jonathan Patton going off the ground now, they have been a little bit more flexible at ground level. But just good play. Cameron again, we can see the smarts to know what's around him, feed off the pack there. And Giles, good finish for a bloke who's about 200 centimetres in height and a big body.
Well, he's been an unlikely goal kicker. He's a ruckman, we know that, but it's good to have up their sleeve if their keys do go down.
Crowd finally getting something to enjoy. Had a few moments of joy, but not a lot. It's been all the Saints from the outset. Brogan fighting hard. McAvoy to Plowman. No, didn't quite cut it off. Montagna, Dal Santo, dragged down by Reed. Came on as the sub, replacing John Patton, who went off with an knee injury we're hoping is not too serious for the #1 pick. So both teams have used their sub. Nunes the man off.
Well, the umpire, I think, got hit.
Subbed out for the Saints early in the game. Ray, who replaced Sipos in the selected 22. 50, Stephen Gillam will get a 50-metre penalty added.
Just give us half a metre, mate, all right? Yeah, no, that's a fair call, mate.
Ray Chamberlain, he went backwards and he said, give me half a metre when I get out, when they throw the ball up, boys, because you can get reported for that.
Yeah, if he gets paid by the word, he'd get a big cheque for every game. Almost Giles with the one-hander. And the umpire said he had one arm held. That's why he could only go for it with one arm. Chance for 2 in a row.
Well, this is the area for St Kilda, which is a real issue, those key defensive types. Stanley going down, and Jason Blake has got the job on Giles, and he's looked fairly inept in the marking contest where it's been one-on-one with a bit of space.
For 2 in a row, that's what he has ahead of him. Sneaks it in.
Really good conversion there by the big boy Giles. And all of a sudden they're kicking a couple, sure, just to give themselves something to get excited about over the next 4 or 5 days preparing for their next game. Here's the umpire giving the free kick away. It's Blake with the grabbed arm. He needs to be replaced at some stage in the next year or so. Jason Blake won't go on forever, even though he's been around, it seems, for the Saints forever.
And you mentioned their next game, and their next game is arguably their biggest game for the year. They've got Melbourne next week, Greater Western Sydney, and that is a winnable game for them. They need to get on the board at some stage, and that has to be the one for them and Melbourne. It's going to be somebody in tears after that. High kick inside 50. Fist from Plowman. Malera tracks it down. Pokes it into Armitage.
Oh, here he is.
He's BAG and wild, this bloke.
Well, Callum Ward then, we just saw, I said, Jared, he's run forward 3 or 4 times in that third quarter and had shots at goal. On that occasion, Callum Ward, you can just see, follow him into that area. You have to be goal side. Have to be goal side as a midfielder, pushing him up the ground.
For goal number 4 for Armitage.
At the most in his career, Dwayne, is he?
Plus 27 possessions. He's working on an unbelievable game.
From 40, that's what he has ahead of him. Never in any doubt. All smiles.
Even Lenny gave him a pat on the back, Shuri, which is high praise from one of the best midfielders we've seen in the modern era. And Armitage has got a great role model. Here's the centre. That's really good. That is just magnificent running and a really good disposal to set it up. And this is what they're going to have to bring to the table each week, St Kilda's small forward line, if they're going to be there when it counts.
And to answer your question, Tony, he's never kicked 5 goals in a game, David Armitage. So milestone looks like it's about to come up for Armitage, and a milestone maybe for the Saints to set a record here. Biggest ever win by a team here is 55 points. North Melbourne against Port Adelaide. Right now it's 45. Brogan slaps it down. And GWS, who are making this one of their home grounds, don't want to have that record on their resume. Jones cuts it off. Hayes has not stopped. Gilbert through the hands of Hayes. Davis. Kennedy. Handball smothered. Riewoldt feeds it to Milne. Little fumble. And they get away with it. GWS. Shield. And thumped by Stanley out of play in front of Giles. Ball in. 11,092 here for this historic first game for AFL points under lights. A little disappointing. The capacity here is 14,000. It's actually 14.5. Whitfield. Sumner.
Smart.
I think it's their record crowd, though, Dwayne.
It is their record crowd, so that's not such a bad thing.
Pretty good effort.
Well, it's been a pretty ordinary night for GWS, but as we see the St Kilda fans are pumped down here. There's no doubt about how exciting this game is.
That's amazing. Hasn't been that boring for Saints fans. I can understand a GWS fan falling asleep.
Oh, right in the nose.
And Ray can't quite hit Meister. Stephen. Got a few around him here. Needs to be creative. Fisher. And that's a throw.
Absolutely a throw.
Not paid. Smith. Cameron, not sure about that handball either. Put Scully under some pressure. Geary almost cut off. Giles, clever. Not 15, surely. Cornelio from the stand start.
Well, I just slowed down a little bit too much there for GWS players. Tom Scully's got a run with Riewoldt at the present time, Shuri. Speaking to a couple of the officials at GWS, they're pretty happy with the way he's going, particularly in his first round. He was one of their best players. But even in that run with Riewoldt, he's got to get some more footy. Just 8 possessions today.
That's not good enough for a player of his calibre. Even in a defensive role, the good thing with the modern game is I think you accumulate by cutting a player out and then making sure you put more pressure on by, accumulating the ball.
I think he's worked really hard on his disposal, and that's pretty apparent. I know his efficiency it's down around the 65%, but he's had a number of kicks under enormous pressure today, and you've got to interpret efficiency in the circumstances in which you win the football. Plenty of blokes can have 80% if they're under no pressure. It's that's you'd expect 100%.
Right to Lee, the 2 first gamers combined. Riewoldt leading out of the square. That was ignored.
But the numbers is the game he's got to work on. More, he's got to be 15 to 30.
No doubt.
There's one bloke at GWS will be wrapped with his Callum Ward. He's had 26 times in the losing side. Reigning best and first winner. I reckon he's a recruit. The best recruit they've got.
He's been a fine pickup, Baz. They weren't able to get the Gary Ablett quality of player, but he looks as if he could well be that captain of the club for 10 years, a decade, if he's a long-term proposition.
Wasn't really open to taking the captaincy either, Jerry. Was sort of talked into it in a way, but that's great to see, because you're right. Led from the front last year in his best and fairest. Let's see these small St Kilda forwards who can get off the link here.
Lenny.
Bug jumped on.
Yeah, it wasn't the tackle so much. I think Lenny lost his feet and ended up doing the body slam. That's what cost him the free kick.
Montagna's.
Armitage 29, Stephen 26. Callum Ward the only GWS player amongst all the key Saints. Canelio again, an errant handball cut off by Robertson.
Who's done well today.
Saad.
Just getting that extra run from Robertson has helped the Saints. He was picked up from the Fremantle Dockers. He's actually just doing some stretches right now. He also is going to have to continue to increase his tank and his work rate. But Wright and Robertson, good running additions to the Saints' back half.
And here is the run-up we expect will deliver. Ahmed Saad picked a couple already.
It's not really a run-up, is it?
No, it's a
walk-up.
Yeah. But as we mentioned earlier, normally effective and effective again. There'll be a few kids copying that, surely.
He just got a little bit close to the man on the mark there, so he's just going to have to be aware of where that mark is. But he is perfection at the present time. There's the excellent kick from Robertson, just over the back. And Saad did it really well. Got away with a free kick. Harsher umpire would have paid it. But once again, the conversion, magnificent.
Well, the greatest goal kicker of all time, Tony Lockett. He used to walk in. It was a low ball drop, very similar.
And a fine role model at that, Baz. There he is, Ahmed Saad, 9 disposals. If 30% of your disposals are goals, sure, you're going to have a hell of a career.
And the ball up. McAvoy down to Dal Santo off his shin.
He's had a good game too, McAvoy. He'd be in the votes today.
He's coming off a pretty good season last year as well. He was the #1 ruckman in the AFL last year in a few departments, intercept marks and tackles, and normally uses the ball well. Malera, Jones, Montagna, Riewoldt, no.
Well, on that occasion, he needed to go to the player and take the body, but it was good defence in the finish.
Stephen Gillum, experienced campaigner that they have picked up to add to their back line.
Lots of space between this pack and the goal. They'd be hoping the smalls would run straight through.
Montagna nearly made it work. Treloar. Moore playing in front.
It's a good player, Tim Moore.
Yeah. Looks dependable, doesn't he?
Good find by GWS.
Free kick for the nudge. Gillam gives it back. Reid hasn't seen a lot of it yet. Came on as the sub. First game for 2013 for Sam Reid. Pinball. His own man, and he's hurt. Gilbert's, no, he's up. He's okay. Stayed down for a while. Hoskin Elliott to Shield, to Scully, and to somebody in the crowd.
Well, once again, there was a man in the goal square. It needed to go to him.
Well, have a look what happened here. Shield, he pushes his man back and gets the headbutt in the back of the head from Robertson, I think.
Can't do that in a marking contest.
Well, it should be a free kick to Robertson, no doubt.
Sting's been sucked out of this, really. 50 points the margin. They've dominated from the opening term, the Saints. Never gave GWS any hope whatsoever in this. It was clinical early. And it's been a little untidy from them since quarter time. They led by 34 at quarter time. They now lead by 50. It could have been a much larger victory, but it'll still be the first victory for them of 2013. Ward sized his way through. Just needed the delivery to be better. Are behind.
Now, Jared, I want you to have a look at this. Dean Brogan's been playing a lot of footy for a long period of time. When you want Jason Blake to kick across goal, instead of getting 30 metres and then let him run, like if you're going to play inside the corridor, at least play 3 metres closer that he's going to kick it in 2 steps, not give him 15 to 20 metres. So even senior players at times, when they're getting a bit tired, can make some mistakes. And
strategy, the science of standing on the mark, Shuri.
Maybe he wanted to force him to the congested side.
Well, he did.
No, he did that,
but he gave him 30 metres to kick over the line, Dwayne. I'd rather have Jason Blake kicking across goal at any time.
Right, you heard the call. Off hands and play on, Stephen. Couldn't quite find a teammate with it. Treloar into a high tackle. It'll come back.
And I'll tell you what, it's good to have Ray back, sure. He missed most of last year. I like the way he umpires. I think he's really clear with his instructions. Kept a low profile so far this season, and he gets the job done.
Yeah, and I like this player with the ball, Adam Treloar. He just knows where to go to get the ball. He's going to improve once his body becomes stronger.
Just
and then
needs
he
to
kicks
keep
it
it in
out.
play.
No, that was in play. He wasn't on the full, was it?
I tell you what else I like. I like this St Kilda away jumper. It actually looks like St Kilda. And we do see a lot of different away jumpers, but
You went straight through the mark.
it was good to see them run out. This will be a shot at goal for Jack Stephen. And they meant business from the opening second of this game, the Saints, and just depends on the margin. Now, that's what the 50 was for. He had to go around Jack Stephen. That was a poor mistake. Dal Santo.
This was set up. That pass to Dal Santo was set up running to the 50-metre mark where he got a penalty. They talked to each other, Dwayne. I reckon Nick just said, I'm going to zip out here, just pass it to me. No doubt.
Riewoldt. Just playing with them at the moment, the Saints.
Just about be able to snag this one, right on his limit.
And that's where you could go the torpedo as well, McAvoy.
I don't think I've ever seen Nick Riewoldt kick a torp.
We don't see it kicked at goal very often. Maybe it would be Hollywood football at this margin and from that distance, but
It's breaking down now.
it'll be Gilbert to have the shot. His numbers were down a little last year, so he'll be hoping for a better season, Sam Gilbert.
You play him on the wing, Jared?
I don't mind him in the midfield, sure. It's given them the run that Baz has talked about. They've got Robertson and young Wright who's come in to replace his role off that half-back line, and that's a pretty fine shot at goal.
Big 9 minutes coming up here for both teams.
Yes, we showed you those stats earlier in the day that suggested at the 20-minute mark GWS has dropped off. Let's have a look at Riewoldt's work rate again, sure. You see him there at the top of the screen. He just keeps on moving. He just keeps on working, keeps him guessing.
His player gives up on it there.
His man's dropped off. I mean, that is why you leak goals late, because blokes lose concentration, don't work hard enough.
Well, that's one thing that Backman hate is constant movement, and Nick Riewoldt certainly does that.
There's Sammy Gilbert, 20 disposal. I think there's a bit of Harry O'Brien and Sammy Gilbert. Both struggled in the defensive half last year, making mistakes under pressure. Take the pressure off, get him out, because you know that he runs with the ball, and we can see he can kick for goal like that.
It's been a good move for the Pies, and it's working for the Saints.
Reed with the clearance, the half forward. Fisher with the fist. Lenny, little fumble. Back against the flow, Blake. And now Ray on the open side.
Still need Armitage to get his 5th one.
Who's that man?
30
Sam
and 5
Gilbert.
has got a nice little round feel about it.
That's 3-vote territory there.
Right.
Riewoldt again.
Oh, that work off the ball by Nick Riewoldt then. He just punched. I'm trying to think it's Davis this time. Just again went backwards a couple of times, floated in a small area, and then pushed him into the chest to get to this space. I still think you've got to play 2 metres in front of him. If he takes a mark jumping on your head.
I agree, sure. It's very rare you see Nick Riewoldt body someone under the ball and take it over the top. He jumps at the ball a lot, and he gives you a chance if you start in front.
Doesn't come back enough. 56 points right now, and if they win by 56, this will be the biggest ever victory by a team here in an AFL game at Manuka Oval. There's that work rate
Have
again.
a look at that. Go back, push off Davis. Now, Davis should have played 2 metres in front of him there not to make contact, so he still forced him out to the back. Now, this is brilliant. This is what coaching's all about, to show these youngsters, well, he's not a youngster, but how to play that position.
And not a lot of excuse for work rate. There's excuse if you haven't got the skill.
Yep.
Gearing. Dewey.
You're lethal with that Comcam, Shuri.
Hope I don't get the job every week.
Okay, Stephen Milne gets a chance to line up, and he needs to play his way into some form as well. 3-goal game on offer for Stephen Milne. He's got 2. Came into this with only 2 goals from 2 games for the season so far. And Saints chance to add to this percentage. They're currently building in the last 7.5 minutes of this game. Milne strikes it okay. He likes it. He's got 3.
Well, 3 is a pretty good haul for a small forward. You do that 20 times a year, you've got yourself your 60-odd goals, Shuri, and it's not often small forwards kick 60-plus goals.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you get small forwards kicking 8 between them, the 3, Jared, and that continues every week, plus your key position players have an impact, you're going to win a lot of games.
Well, the problem with the small forwards is consistency. It's a hard game to play and be consistent and consistently kick goals. Milne's had a pretty good habit of kicking goals each game, which is remarkable, really.
He had a long period, I reckon, where he's a small full forward, which has elevated his numbers. His role's changed a bit under Scott Watters, where he's very much a crumbing forward. And it's much more difficult, in my view, Baz, to be a regular goal kicker, which is why his year last year was such a good one.
62 points the margin, biggest margin of the game. It'll be a record-breaking margin. Hayes low, skids it inside 50. That was spectacular. Milne just needs to finish it. Oh, not quite, but Riewoldt showing that
was in the goal bracket.
Still got the dexterity. Yeah, absolutely. Biggest score ever kicked here at Manuka Oval is 22 goals by the West Coast. Right now the Saints have 19. So the Saints could break a few records here, and GWS could see a few records next to their name that they certainly don't want at this semi-home ground. Brogan gives it off. Hoskin Elliott. A little poke by Smith around the corner. Shield does well. Not a lot to go too long. Clever pass to Bug, who can line up.
Good transition by the Giants. They're going to have to do it at a hell of a lot higher frequency if they're going to win a game of footy this season. And next week they get an opportunity against a side that is down. They're not out, given that they played so well in the first half, but certainly down and gettable.
GWS v Melbourne at the MCG next week, and for the record, St Kilda against Essendon next week at Etihad. But all eyes on Bug. And that might bug him. Only behind.
Bug eyes.
And still a 10-goal margin.
I want to show you some gold. We had the Lenny Hayes goal. This is incredible football skills. Down low, great pickup and good get. And lays it off magnificently.
Blake, got to pay that. And now the runners, they're still running. Milne up early on Plowman.
He had a crack. He had about 1 in 1,000 chance of plucking that, but he went for it, Milne. Good on him.
Yeah, shine on, you crazy diamond. It's love from the Saints fans every time Stephen Milne gets near it, and for opposition fans, it's exactly what they don't like. He polarises people, but he's a joy to watch. Shuffled out. Fisher. Stephen still hassling. Gilbert tried to part the seas. Montagna. Stephen bumped out of play on the fall. And this will be a shot at goal, perhaps for Reid.
Well, he's going to learn from that. That is a really silly mistake from a very good young footballer.
Meister in defence, dropped it off the deck, but misses the second in a row.
And of course, sure, you and I and Dwayne will be going home alone. Barry is staying. He's got a visitation, we believe.
Oh, to where?
Number one.
Number one? Julia.
What do you got on the agenda, Baz?
I think she's got other things to fix before she fixed the dogs.
She's out of town at the moment, but she's given me the keys to her ranch and might crash the night, I think.
Crash the night.
Milne from the back pocket. Brogan and Blake, and at the back of them, Hoskin Elliott outread them all. Scully to the hot spot. Cameron's down there, and he did pull the jumper. Free kick, Stanley.
Well done to Reece Stanley. He's had the better of Cameron tonight.
I think he needs to be released, Jory, just for his own mental health. Get him up the ground, at the other end of the ground, get him running from the half-back line. And hopefully Sheets gives him an opportunity at some stage in the next few weeks.
Stanley to Montagna.
I'm sure Reece Stanley won a grand final sprint, didn't he?
He did.
So he can go.
Geary bumped and tunnelled on the mark attempt.
Go away, Dave.
Umpire Ray Chamberlain might take a number here.
For a charge, number 10, GWS. Reported for a charge, number 14, Jaron Geary, 50 metres.
Yeah, that's tunnelling.
That's bad.
Unfortunately, I think even his face suggested he knew he'd done the wrong thing.
And that is really dangerous. In basketball terms, normally you get a number of weeks. That's what we don't want to see, unprotected player in the air.
I think the Saints would be happy to go home with this scoreline.
Move it on.
And no more injuries. Put the 4 points in the bag and head into next week, knowing that they could next week play their way back in amongst those teams in the 8. Robertson looks up. He's got runners, but he goes long. Meister, not quite. Thumped away by Gillum. Little history-making game for a few players as well. Today, 200th game that Stephen Milne, Nick Dal Santo and Nick Riewoldt have played together as a threesome. They've all played over 200 games as individuals, but it's been a great combination over time, and they've combined well again tonight.
That's a big stat, Dwayne.
Yeah, it's
You've been working on that for a while.
Kind of stat you come up with when you're 60 points and 3 minutes left.
Well done.
I'll come up with a couple of other useless ones for you shortly.
Yeah,
if you like. Smith inboard, and this is Sumner. Could have had the shot at goal.
Oh, that's a lazy kick or a tired kick.
Hoskin Elliott. Oh! And he rides Stephen. Stephen's hurt. He might have been knocked out. And the kick across the face. Head clash. Takes a bit to knock Jack Stephen out, though.
Yeah, I think a sledgehammer would struggle.
Right on the jaw with the shoulder.
Almost self-inflicted, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Hoskin Elliott is a talent. I think we've seen him a number of times really show us what he's got. And again tonight, it's been pretty good.
McAvoy just bumped on that. That was tunnelling as well. Stanley didn't want to play onto advantage.
Well, he's had a great night, hasn't he? Just led that first quarter. I think he had 9 possessions in that first quarter. Dominated clearances and just followed on for the rest of the night.
Hayes. Jones. Who does he want inside 50? They're all running back to the square. Sard, he sits it on him. Off hands, Riewoldt. Well, he deserves this. Yeah. He deserves some cream, the superstar.
Well, that was work, right? I'm looking forward to another expose
please
Shuri on the commentator's cam. Here it is again. Have a look. He's here. He's right down on the wing. Have a look at that. He's just charging.
And Davis is following. He's off the bit.
Yeah, he's just dropped off. And Nick just went. I mean,
who gets the most out of that, Dave? I think Phil Davis has got to look at that and try and get something out. That is just great work rate and proves what you have to do at that level to be a good defender.
Biggest margin of the game, 66 points. It's going to be a record victory here at Manuka. Saints are going to hold that record, regardless of what happens this last couple of minutes. Hayes backtracks. Gilbert, Ray. It's going to be hard to push him back out of the side as well. Late inclusion for Sipos, and he's really given them drive as he has here again. Wants a target inside 50. Riewoldt. It's too good. Vintage.
Too good, yeah. Too quick, too fast. And Jared's belting me in the arm saying, where's Cameron? Get him down there. Should have happened in the second quarter. And I totally in agreement, at least at half time.
just for a learning experience.
No doubt.
Well, Sheedy, as you mentioned earlier, normally is a teaching coach. Normally uses opportunities like this to give some instruction.
Well, Cameron wouldn't have coped with that. That was just body strength built over a year, a decade or more of football.
But what I liked was his work rate, and I reckon it'd be great for Cameron to run beside him and see what it takes.
No doubt.
Because I was thinking, sure, if this game was actually a native domestic game to the USA, where they've got 240 million people, what we saw there from Nick Riewoldt suggests he might have been a wingman in an era if we had so many other millions of people playing the game. He started his career as a wingman under Grant Thomas. He was a defensive wingman. He get lots of his ball off the half-back, and then he just charged forward. And you saw him there, not on this occasion, a previous goal, he was front and centre, like a wingman. Heaven help the centre half forwards if he was a wingman, though. 7'3".
Well, Matty Richardson, they tried to make him a wingman at the end of his career.
Jim Stein's played on the wing for a dozen or more games.
All part of the growing pains for GWS. We knew there'd be some pain, but this is going to be a very painful loss. 70 points plus right now. Stanley. Right. And off he goes, straight through the middle. They're not done with just yet. Maybe they are. Turnover. Gillum.
Well, last time these two teams met, Saints won by 128 points. That's a big loss. A positive. I'm really scratching for positives here. They haven't lost by that much.
So from 21 goals to 12. In fact, the last time these two teams actually met was in the pre-season comp, and GWS beat St Kilda in the pre-season.
I think coming into him, that was one of the reasons a lot of us thought it might have been more competitive than it is, but the Saints big guns have done the job, as have a number of their younger players like Stephen and Armitage.
Scully from half-back in the dying seconds. And it was simply the win the Saints had to have today to get their season in 2013 hard-started. And some shock therapy for GWS. 72 points the final margin. Just not quite up to competing with the big boys just yet. Early stages of year 2 of Greater Western Sydney's development. Saints 21-14, 140. Couldn't quite get to the 22-goal record score here at Manuka Oval, set by the West Coast Eagles. But it is the biggest winning margin ever in a game here. Kevin Sheedy, no doubt, knows he's still got some work to do, although it's the man here next to him on the right-hand side who's going to do the majority of the work, Leon Cameron, who'll be coaching GWS in 2014. 72 points, the margin, 21-14, 140 to 10-8, 68. Let's head down to Barry Hall.
Yeah, thanks, Dwayne. Well, it's been a rough couple of weeks for the club. It must be great to get on the winners list.
Mate, it is. We've put in pretty good effort for the 2 weeks, but we've been a little bit stiff. A few little mistakes with the ball. But tonight we really try to rectify that, run through the middle a bit more, try and use the outnumber and get it into our forwards. I mean, Bowie and Rue were really good tonight. Normally they have a few on them, but if you use the ball smartly, then you'll get it into them, they'll kick goals. Yeah, we're really impressed with your small forwards as well this week. Every time it went in there was dangerous forwards everywhere. Yeah, well, they've been hit up for the last 2 weeks for not doing what their priority thing is, which is chasing and tackling, and then the goals will come. So, I mean, they were a lot better tonight, and that's the standard now. And a couple of young blokes, Leigh and Wright, come in and they impressed, didn't they? Mate, that's why they're in the team, because we got faith in them that they're going to do their role. And Wrighty's a strong, tough kid, and Tommy Lee is as well. So, I mean, they'll just grow with games, and they were really good tonight. I'll enjoy the win. No worries, thanks, Bazza.
Barry Hall downstairs. Don't go away. We'll be back to wrap up very shortly. But a cold-blooded St Kilda in the cool climes of Canberra, winning by 72 points, 21-14, 140 to 10-8, 68. .72 points, the final margin here in Canberra. Saints catch the check. GWS, a reality check. Saints won every quarter, led by 34 at quarter time after keeping Greater Western Sydney scoreless in the opening term, led by 37 at half time, by 51 at three-quarter time, finally running out 72-point victors for their first win of 2013. 21-14, 140 to 10-8, 68. They're the leading goal scorers and possession getters. Jared, you got a 3, 2 and 1 for me?
Oh, you'd have to go for Armitage, I reckon. Dwayne, 30-plus possessions and 4 goals. It's an incredible performance. Jack Stevens was also good. I was really impressed with Nathan Wright, Shorey. First game in, 22 possessions off the half-back line. Callum Ward was excellent. Tim Moore, McAvoy also. But if I had to give a single vote, I'd give it to Tony Shaw. His work on the Comcam was absolutely superb. I really enjoyed it, though, because I think the GWS will look at it and say, we've got to get more of our players working harder. You can have that job for life.
Still playing to my levels.
Nice work, boys. Still doing the vaudeville. Saints by 72.